This week's episode of This Is Only a Test is brought to you by BetaBound. BetaBound is a place for people who want to try out new tech products before anyone else. BetaBound offers a wide variety of beta testing opportunities, everything from mobile apps to hardware devices like TVs and smart lights. For example, BetaBound testers have had the opportunity to try out products from companies like GoPro, Fitbit, and Logitech. Anyone can be a beta tester, and it's all about real people providing honest feedback. As a beta tester, you'd be collaborating with the teams making these products to share your thoughts on what you like and dislike, and ultimately help determine what hits store shelves. To sign up, go to betabound.com/thisisonlyatest, and some lucky listeners will receive cool swag for signing up. Now on with the show. Hey, let's start a show.
Oh, hey, let's start the show.
Hey, let's start the show for Thursday, December 1st. 2016. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com.
Right.
Look at that fucking squirrel on my bird feeder.
And then suddenly, the Enterprise D's bridge.
Thanks for joining us.
That's not the sound of the Enterprise.
No,
D.
that is...
That's
the A.
TOS, isn't it?
Yeah, whoever mixed that did it wrong. Well, hearing that dubstep intro to this week's podcast, you might guess who might be joining us. And it is, of course, on the far end of the table, Will Smith, back, and I don't know how many weeks. Many a week.
It's been 16 hours and 15 days.
What?
No, I don't know. I was trying to remember how that song goes, and I realized as I started talking, I just completely lost
Sinead
it.
O'Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be.
Thanks for coming in.
Norm, have you ever thought about dressing up the set to look like the Enterprise D's bridge? Because that would be amazing.
We already dressed up the set a little bit, especially for you this week with our fancy walk, step, and repeat banners.
Okay.
Behind us.
You've got the technical term for that. I like that.
Yep. So it's already been dressed up. No, we haven't. This room is due for a redesign, and that will be happening early next year once we get our main studio set up, which is happening this month.
Wow.
I guess we're breaking that news. And also joining us is, of course, Jeremy Williams.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
Yeah, now you can talk. Kishore is still in India, I believe, riding elephants, taking photos. He's tweeting a lot, so Google Fi must be working for him pretty well.
Oh, is he on a Fi phone over there?
He is testing a Fi phone. He went to India to test
Just
Google
to test
Fi.
the phone? That seems like a really expensive way to test a
It's
phone.
commitment.
Yeah, exactly. And Facebook's new global internet initiative launching in India, so he's doing all sorts of
But
testing.
I thought that Facebook thing was all filtered and not real internet.
Yeah, so that's why you're not seeing him post on Facebook,
Okay,
maybe.
that makes sense.
So how have you guys been?
Doing awesome, man.
Did you guys travel? You traveled.
I
didn't you?
traveled. I did.
Whoa, you went to the Heartland.
I did. I saw America for all its glory.
Did you sing This Land Is Your Land?
No. I guess I should have.
Did you sing?
I ate Chick-fil-A. I went to the voted best airport in America.
What?
Favorite
Indianapolis?
airport? Indianapolis Airport.
Is that like a lesser of all evils?
I don't know. Like, it was a giant, real big banner. The moment I stepped into the big atrium, I was like, vote 10 years running, best favorite airport in America, Indianapolis Airport. And it was a really nice airport.
Was it better than Terminal 2? Was there a Pinkberry?
No Pinkberry, but there was Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A's good.
My family loves Terminal 2.
Terminal 2 is the best. It's
My daughter's like, can we go to the airplane now? And she really just wants to go to the airport.
Yeah.
Well, they have a candy store
Yeah.
in Terminal 2. There's Pinkberry. The food is good.
Andale is a favorite with my family.
Yeah, I like the quesadillas in the morning. It also feels the most like a spaceport because all the white chairs, the bright lights.
Exploratorium has a small exhibit there.
Yeah, as opposed to, and they have a great museum gallery on the side. The Exploratorium has that now, but like before, they have really good curators for that. As opposed to Terminal 1 in SFO, which feels like a scene out of a Contagion film.
Yeah.
A quarantine area.
I think
the ceilings are falling and
Yeah. Like there's dripping water places.
And everyone's super sad and all the flights are delayed. Yeah.
Have you noticed like that sculpture above security in Terminal 2? It's a hanging. It looks kind of like a Klein bottle.
It's like you're gonna get caught if you walk under it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's a net that they drop down if terrorists come into the It's my favorite part of Terminal 2 is that sculpture.
Yeah.
So Indiana. Sorry.
So I would vote SFO Terminal 2 favorite airport. But
But you have to include the whole airport.
I guess so.
Terminal 1 and 3 bring
I
it
would
down.
I would still vote LAX worst airport.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and car rentals. Oh, I did a car rental in Indiana. Got to drive around, and
What'd you get?
I got a Nissan, I think.
Something big?
a
Did you get a
Sentra?
big American car?
No, it was a modest hearse, but the gold thing was magic.
Just walking out and
Yeah.
you like see Norman Chan on the board.
Right, Danica said, "Oh, I'm gonna go walk the dog and make her poop while you go take care of the line waiting."
You
I'm
took
like,
the dog to Indiana?
and I said, There was no line waiting. Look, they have my name. We're gonna walk up into this car and
Yeah.
drive away."
That's free. It's a service you do not have to pay
I
for.
know.
You took
I
the
know.
dog on the plane
I did.
as a carry-on.
Yes. So things that I did not know. You can take your dog on a plane if they fit in a special
They have to be
soft
under
kennel.
23 pounds and they have to fit under the seat.
Yeah. So that's for the carry-on. Some dogs, I guess, you can have them checked in.
We checked Chloe once.
But small dogs and flat-faced dogs, they won't let you check in because of breathing problems. So you have to put them, and it costs $125 each way to use the dog as a carry-on, to take the spot
Well,
of one of your carry-ons.
And if there's another person that already has the dog carry-on spot, there's only a handful
There are
of
3.
dog carry-on spots on the plane.
You have to make the reservation in advance and then get the approved kennel.
Yeah, it's we tried to get Chloe to fit into the underground, into the underseat kennel carrier.
You mean with the bags?
When
Yeah.
she was a puppy, because we took her to Tennessee once. And she was still under 23 pounds at that point because she was still a juvenile. But she did not want to go in the tiny box because she was too big for it. And we ended up having to check her, which was really, really traumatic for everyone.
Oh, so there's a
involved.
difference. I didn't realize that.
Well, yeah, if you check her, she goes in the big hard plastic thing.
Yeah.
And she goes in like luggage. But I mean, the nightmare scenario is that somebody is like, I'm going to pet this dog on the tarmac.
And get bitten.
Well, or that she'll run off.
Right.
On the air.
Well,
on the-
they won't open the
Well,
kennel.
you think that, but who knows? And so you zip tie the cage shut so that
Right.
they can't open it.
It's terrible for the dog, no
Yeah,
matter what.
no doubt.
Traveling like that. Now, our dog is 3 months old and needs to pee every
Like 45
4
seconds?
hours.
Okay.
I think the way they do it is like how many months plus 2 or something. It's for hours.
That was about your flight length, right?
And my dog also refuses to pee. So the coming back. I went to Atlanta and then came back. And Atlanta and San Francisco is 4.5 hours. An hour of that flight was spent between me and Danica, either one of us, in the bathroom with a pee pad on the ground, with the dog standing on the pee pad, and us yelling at the dog, "Pee, Ripley, pee, pee, please pee," and then her falling asleep on the pee pad in the bathroom stall
People
in
love
the
you.
airplane
With a line outside.
with the line outside.
So it might be too late for this, but Chloe pees on command. You can say, Chloe, go to the spot, and she'll start peeing no matter where
Oh
you
my
are.
God.
What kind of draconian household do you have?
Wow.
Look, we were early on authoritarianism, so
We're just getting the crate training. We bought diapers though, so we had the emergency diapers,
Oh
but
my
she won't
God,
pee. And
that's
like
terrible.
yeah.
the point is, if you say the same thing when the moment she starts peeing
Yep.
for the first like 6 months,
Yep.
you can walk out in a year and just say Ripley spot, and she'll pee immediately.
All right.
So it doesn't help you right now,
Yeah.
but you can work. It's a goal to work toward.
Yeah, it was comical.
Well, I traveled.
Where'd you go?
I took a train. I took
Oh,
a train
that's right.
to Denver.
Mile High in Denver.
Is that a song?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They actually had to stand on the courthouse steps in order to get a Mile High.
Well, I don't think they have to stand on the courthouse steps anymore.
What? Oh,
Colorado.
right on, dude. Right on. 420, dude. We took a train from Emeryville to Denver, and it was the most beautiful train ride ever.
Oh, man, I'm so jealous. I've always wanted to do that.
It's called the California Zephyr Line. It's very old. It's almost a century old, and it's run by Amtrak now. And it's 33 hours of pure gorgeous Sierras, Salt Flats, and Rockies.
Now, your kids are of an age that I have a hunch, knowing them reasonably well, that they may not have appreciated the natural beauty that Western America offered.
They had their heads buried in the iPad, pretty much
Okay.
as much as they could, and I limited that as much as I could. So it's a constant struggle.
Are they including your wife?
No, she actually had to work, so I took the kids out, and then she
Oh.
joined us. She flew out there, but
So it's just you.
just me and the kids. and the iPads.
And the iPads, LTE iPads or Wi-Fi?
No Wi-Fi, no LTE.
No,
Oh, so
no internet.
they were just
No,
they
just
were,
offline. I mean, they had to struggle somehow, right?
It was like they were on
They
the.
just wanted to tap the screen, get the refresh.
I got to tell you, though, one of the highlights of the trip involved the iPad because my 9-year-old son,
Yeah.
I showed him Zork just on a lark. And I thought he would spend 10 seconds until I let him turn it off. He got hooked on Zork.
Oh, that's so good.
So he would, at nighttime, he read us Zork, and we all offered, solutions, what we wanted to do. Go north, get the sword, kill the thing. And it was a blast.
How much
Now-
Zork do you remember?
None of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Except getting eaten by a Gru.
Yeah,
of
That's
course.
right. That's the
it.
song.
That's as far as I got.
That's a you're kind of in a predicament there. You've paid for this expensive trip. You want your son to enjoy the great outdoors
Sure.
and a train ride, which is a luxury these days. But also you appreciate that he likes Zork. So
Well, that was nighttime,
okay.
too, so there's not much to see. But it was great. We didn't sleep that well, but it was totally worth it. The food is great compared to planes. Forget it. You haven't had food like this on a plane since the 70s.
Did you do a Pullman, or did you put them in the chairs?
No, we had a what they call a family room.
Okay.
So it's not much larger than a small bathroom, but
Like 2 beds, bunk beds, or something.
4, but 2 of those are small.
Okay.
Yeah. And, it's like the width of the car,
Yeah.
but
This
not
isn't
not
like
very wide.
I'm imagining it as Last Express, kind of like wooden, like Harry Potter wood doors. But no, this is like metal. Like,
No, it's Amtrak.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the hallways are single person width, like
Right.
when you're walking down them. So it's definitely a full train experience. The observation car is just gorgeous. I'm telling you, going through the mountains and even through Utah was just stunning. I got so many good pictures that no one will ever care to see.
Well,
Please don't show me.
Utah's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do the train from Seattle to Minneapolis. I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
I've only done the one from here to Portland and now from here to Denver.
Here to Portland, I would do, and it goes out of Emeryville or
Yeah, that's the end of the line
in the line
for
of
the
Emeryville.
East Coast bound one.
Oh,
It's called the Empire Builder. It goes to Chicago, all the
Wow.
way to Chicago.
Okay.
Which would be a blast.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's like 5 days. 4
Telling
days.
you, ride a train, folks, before you can't, because it's definitely a great way to see the country. It's just chill out, relaxing experience.
It's like a land boat.
It's like a land boat.
What was your turkey strategy, guys? While you were on were you in charge of cooking in Indianapolis? You just were there for the ride?
nope. We brought desserts.
Okay.
And ourselves.
We
And
saw
that was
family in Denver.
Okay,
And they cooked us turkey kindly.
that was nice.
Yeah. What'd you do?
We had 9 people at the house. Cooked a bird.
I think I
That's-
saw a picture of
Everybody
it.
had turkey.
Cocked.
Looks satisfying.
I
Say it,
spatchcock
say
every
it,
year.
Say it.
I am the biggest believer in the spatchcock that you will find.
Now explain spatchcocking for first-time listeners.
So the problem with cooking turkeys, especially large turkeys, is that the breast and the thighs need to be cooked to different temperatures, which means that you end up doing, in order to cook everything to the right amount and not over or undercook anything, you end up doing things that are ludicrous, like taking a 20-pound turkey that's stuffed and flipping it midway through the cooking process when it's 350 degrees. What spatchcocking does, and it's something that lots of people do with chickens, is that you cut the back out, you flatten out the bird. Sometimes you even deconstruct the limbs and take the legs off, and you can cook them separately. So I do, a few years ago, we talked about in this podcast before, America's Test Kitchen revisited Julia Child's spatchcock turkey recipe from the 50s and kind of updated and modernized it. And what you do for that is you cut the backbone of the bird out, you take the legs off, and then you debone the thighs, so you have these butterflied open thighs, and you fill that gap with sage and salt and pepper, and then tie them up in a roulade, and bake that whole thing on a big pile of stuffing, so that when the turkey's cooking, all the juices and fat that run out of it run down into the stuffing, so you essentially have like 4 times as much butt stuffing from the turkey as you would have.
That's great.
In
All
a
the juices.
in a traditional turkey, and it is fabulous. So like the thighs this year, the thing that people couldn't get enough of were the thighs. Like I got one tiny piece of thigh and everybody's gone, because you cut them into these like inch wide chunks.
Yeah. You got 15 people in one turkey.
I had 9 people
Okay.
on one turkey.
How many
Yeah.
pounds?
I did a 16-pound turkey, I think.
Oh, she went for the 20.
Well, so
Oh, is there an optimal weight for spatchcocking?
I mean, you can spatchcock at whatever weight you want, Norm, but everybody recommends turkeys in the 16 to 18 pound size at most. The nice thing about spatchcocking is if you need to make a lot of turkey, you can do. The other nice thing is that it goes really fast. So it took like 90 minutes or 2 hours at most to cook the whole turkey
Crazy.
with the stuffing. and it's flat on the pan, so it's easy to do 2 birds at once if you have a big crowd of people,
Right.
Which is much more effective than making one 25-pound turkey, I think, at least.
Nice.
So yeah, Kenji at Serious Eats has a spatchcock recipe. The folks at Chef Steps have a spatchcock recipe. I like that America's Test Kitchen one, but deboning the thighs on the bird is a little bit tricky if you've never done that before.
You still have leftovers?
We chucked the carcass last night,
All right.
but and the other
Make
nice
a broth?
well, so when you do the backbone, cut the backbone out, you use that along with all the giblets to make the turkey stock. And I had gravy for days. We never run out of gravy anymore.
Will Smith, gravy for days.
Gravy for days.
Gravy for days.
It's a really nice bump.
It is great. Let's start off with the sad news. We had a death in the sci-fi family this
Yeah.
week. Ron Glass, who played Shepard in Firefly.
Yep, and died in Serenity.
In Serenity, that's right.
Spoilers, man. I haven't seen Serenity.
Come on, it's a little late for
A
that.
little late for that.
Okay.
But a fan favorite. We'll never have that Firefly reunion exactly the same again.
Yeah.
Tell
What-
that.
Sucks.
Did you guys know him from anything but Serenity and Firefly?
I think he was like Emmy Award nominated or winning for some other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a sitcom in the 60s, or he was on Barney Miller.
No.
That's who he was.
I liked his character a lot.
Yeah. That's right. He played was it Barney Miller in the
No, he didn't play Barney Miller. He played
he was in
Ron Harris
okay,
on Barney Miller.
On Barney Miller. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Did you guys watch any movies over the holidays in the past 2 weeks? We didn't record a podcast last week. We had a classic episode brought back from the archives from 2012.
I don't know. I don't know if that's fair. I feel like throwback episodes. One of the things Roman Mars says is the feed's always new, man. It's always fresh.
There are always new listeners.
Well, I
People
guess that's
enjoyed it.
true.
People appreciated it.
Did
Better
you-
than no episode.
Did you insert new ads?
Oh yes.
I don't know, man. All I know is that
It's
those
a
old
blast
shows,
from the past. Brought to you by our sponsor last week.
the new cast is much better. What did I watch? I watched some classics this weekend.
On television?
Plex, but same difference.
Mm-hmm. What'd you watch?
Watched High Fidelity.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Fabulous movie.
Love it.
And then we watched Batman Returns because like the hipster Christmas movie of choice is Die Hard. People always come out and say, well, my favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard.
I think we're past that.
I
Past
mean, my
hipster.
mom is going to come out this year and say
Right,
that Die Hard
it's-
is her favorite Christmas movie.
Die Hard being a favorite Christmas movie is like has hit the mainstream long time ago.
Yeah.
It's like Rick rolling.
You can get a Die Hard Christmas sweater now.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
says ho ho ho,
at
motherfucker.
Target.
Which
Yeah.
one is Batman Returns?
Batman Returns
Michelle
is the Penguin.
Pfeiffer.
It's Tim Burton's last one he did, and it is the Michelle Pfeiffer one, the one that with Danny DeVito as the
Yeah.
Penguin.
Okay.
The
And
last
Christopher
Michael Keaton
Walken
one. And Christopher
as
Walken as Max Shrek.
Max
Is
Shrek.
it Michael Keaton?
It's Michael Keaton.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Has amazing practical effects in it.
Well, and it's all shot on the WB backlot. This is the thing I didn't remember because we have been to the WB backlot now, Norm, because we went when we shot the one of the talking rooms.
Okay.
And like walking around, it's all these high angle shots down on action below, and then street level shots. It's really interesting because it looks like a much old. It's almost shot like Miracle on 43rd Street, 34th Street.
It's an old movie. It's 1992, I believe, and they use a lot of miniatures. The scene where Batman has his wings pop out is a miniature, where he
Really?
glides down.
Oh, I didn't
Yep.
know that.
Same aesthetic as the first one, right?
Very similar aesthetic, dark.
Yeah.
It's very Tim Burton-esque.
There's a lot more matte paintings in the first one, so you see much more of Gotham, like many more wide shots of Gotham.
Yeah.
In the second one, it's much more close, and like the cinematography on the characters, there's a lot of these really tight headshots that remind me a lot of like 50s holiday movies and romantic movies and stuff like that.
I remember lots of Dutch angles.
There's a
too,
lot of Dutch
which
angles.
is similar to the.
That's a
50
Tim Burton joint too.
but also kind of a flashback to the original TV series.
It's a great holiday film. It is set during Christmas. There's the circus gang. Penguin is wonderfully portrayed by Danny DeVito. You have a great Selena Kyle, Bruce Wayne scene, and the ball where all hell breaks loose. And of course, you have those freaking penguins,
The animatronic penguins.
the animatronic large penguins, human-sized penguins that push Penguin into the abyss.
That movie is much better than I remembered it being.
It's
So that's all I'll say.
I think that in terms of non-traditional Christmas films, you'd have to go with like Gremlins.
Oh yeah.
Gremlins is just a Christmas movie, though. It's not non-traditional. I mean, I guess it's a genre Christmas movie.
No, he means like not Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not about Santa. It's
Yeah.
not about giving. It's just set during Christmas.
I think I've only ever seen Gremlins 2.
What? Shut up, dude. Get out of here.
I missed the window.
I forgot there was a Gremlins too.
I saw Gremlins 2 was on cable when I first got HBO.
Gremlins 2 is a straight up Looney Tunes parody.
Really?
Yeah, they just made all the Gremlins turn into crazy Looney Tune characters. There was one that's basically like Daffy.
Did they try to tone it down? Like not as scary?
It wasn't as scary. Exactly. It was comical. It was a farce.
Yeah.
One was genuinely scary and adorable. And a great Christmas film.
I'll have to watch that.
I would love to hear people's favorite non-traditional Christmas films that they watch. Now there are some really good ones like in the modern day Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. A lot of the Shane Black movies are set during Christmas.
The Ice Harvest is a Christmas movie, isn't it? Or no, I'm thinking of Bad Santa because they both came out at the same time.
Bad Santa. I get Santa is also because that one does have Santa in it, but it's not really.
He's not a good Santa.
No, it's not a feel-good Christmas film.
What are your go-to? What are your must-watch every holiday season?
In my family, it's Home Alone.
Home Alone
Yeah,
is
I mean that's
yeah.
that's because I have kids now. I don't even like that movie anymore, but my kids love
But
it.
Home Alone is a Christmas film.
Yeah.
Like Christmas is the plot device that, right?
Is it Chris Columbus or is it?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, director of Harry Potter 1 and Bicentennial Man.
Great with kids, it turns out.
Yeah, he can direct some kids.
What else? Christmas Vacation. You guys go in for that, or are they too?
No.
Your kids are too young for that, probably now, huh?
I don't have kids, but no.
I don't know. I like the first two vacation movies so much. I have a hard time with Vegas and Christmas.
Oh, see, I like Christmas and I like the first one, but I don't like European at
Okay.
all. Let's see what else. But we always watch Bad Santa. Eleanor loves it.
Have you seen? There's a sequel now.
Just came out.
What
Just
really?
came out. Bad
Worse
Santa 2. No, Bad Santa 2 just came out.
I got nothing. I have literally nothing. Is this like a Gilmore Girls tie-in? Is that what's happening?
No.
Billy Bob.
There is a movie. What is it? Not the Krampus film, but it's a Norwegian film. I want to say, and it's about the legend of Santa Claus. And I forget the name of it.
I don't know.
Something exports.
Okay.
Rare exports. Something like that.
Yeah.
I
will say we also watched Jedi over the holiday because it was on TBS and we were in a hotel. So we watched it, and my daughter had never seen it before, so it was great to sort of walk her through that and show her all the, get into some of the reveals with the final Yoda scene and all that. And then the very next day, while we were in Denver, we went to the Denver Art Museum where we saw a costume exhibit.
Oh, cool.
All the Star Wars costumes were right there on display. You guys would have loved it.
I went. It started in Seattle.
Oh, you seen the exhibit?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
the exhibit.
Norman and I saw it.
So, one of my favorite things was I saw the Anthony Daniels costume exploded and laid apart. So you saw the interior, and you saw how all the wiring that you see in his arm, a lot of it is just done with fabric.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
Super cool. You see the way
They didn't have that exploded at the MP.
you see his eyes and how they light up, but he can also see through them in the middle.
Wow.
And the wiring coming out of it. Loved it. Very cool show.
You can see why he might be grumpy.
Yeah. Oh, and the interior of the Darth Vader mask, which was just layered with foam, and it's funny how things you don't see on camera are completely unfinished.
It's really funny because the interior of Darth Vader mask, that's the original Vader mask, but the one they made for Episode 3 has all the crazy mechanical interiors because they had to have that prop when they put it on Hayden Christensen.
Well, don't they have
the film.
multiples?
Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't what he wore.
No, but that was just for that scene when they lowered it
Yeah.
on his face and they showed all the guts of the.
I don't think he wore it for very long because I'd say it was somebody tall wearing it to fall to their knees and throw their arms in the air.
Or that was CG.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can dream.
I did see finally Doctor Strange,
Ooh.
and I don't think we'll ever do a spoiler cast about it, but I really enjoyed it. It was for all the casting controversies, I thought Tilda Swinton was great in it, and it was a rare action film where at the climactic action scene, I turned over to Danica and I said, "This is awesome."
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't felt that way in a Marvel movie in a fairly long time. Probably.
I read that it was the best of the Marvel intro movies.
Yes, it's definitely up there.
I mean, they've done 20 of them now. They should be good at it at this point.
Yeah.
How, like, is it mandatory or is it something you watch when it comes out
I think
on
it's
video?
Oh, you mean mandatory to watch in theaters?
Yeah.
It's actually the one that people say you should watch in 3D. So if you can find a 3D showing, people say this is a film that deserves to be watched in 3D. I unfortunately did not see it in 3D, but if I was to see it again, and I don't know when I'll have time to, I would want to watch it in 3D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool 3D magic stuff.
Really, really cool world-bending 3D magic stuff. Moving on to other things from movies to TV, we had some first casting news for Star Trek Discovery. Now, Star Trek Discovery show that I'm still excited about, even though Brian Fuller left. Now, renewed interest because they cast Doug Jones and also Michelle Yeoh.
Is this the CBS thing?
This is the CBS Star Trek new series set outside of the J.J. Abrams universe. So it's been delayed a little bit, but I'm still looking forward to what they do with it.
Does that mean hold on, outside does that mean it's in the originals timeline?
It's in the original timeline.
That was my question.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where in the original timeline? Is it like TOS era or is it?
The ship looks like TOS era, but they haven't said.
So
Isn't there only the two timelines?
Well, yeah, but it could be like post next generation. It could be next generation era. It could be
Era, yes, but same timeline.
Same timeline.
Yeah.
I would love to see it in the next generation timeline, not post next generation timeline.
I don't. Post next generation is not. I don't want Borg. I want Klingons and Romulans.
So we don't even know when this show takes place? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also we have the season finales of Westworld this Sunday.
That's right.
Wait, really?
We're
Episode
not going
10.
to talk about it until afterward. It's a 90-minute episode. If you want to hear about an hour worth of Westworld conversation, I joined Annalie Newitz on her Decrypted podcast this week. It's on Ars Technica, and so you could check that out where we talk in depth about the revelations with episode 9. You saw it, Jeremy?
I'm 2 behind.
Oh, you're 2 behind. Okay.
Yeah, that's about where I am.
And she does a great podcast. She chatted with Jay McGonigal, I believe, last week about game theory as it applies to Westworld.
Yeah.
And then also had one of the writers/producers, story editors of the show, Charles Yu, on the week before, talk about his contributions to the show. So really excited about that. And then last bit of pop culture stuff. You guys put up your trees yet?
No, man, it's true. This weekend.
Some people do
This
it.
weekend's the day.
Do you guys buy trees, or you guys have fake trees?
We've traditionally bought trees.
We have done both in the past, but we are with the birth of our child, we became a real tree family again.
Yeah. So this is my 3rd year with the real tree.
Yeah.
And to make it worth your money, buying a real tree, you got to buy the tree as early as you can, so you have it as set up as long as you can. Because if we're talking about spending $100 on a Christmas tree, and that's how much they cost in the Bay Area these days, at least $100 to get like an 8-foot tree, that's like $3 a day if you're just going to use it in the month of December.
Look, I've got a life hack for you.
What's your life hack?
Don't go to tree lots to get your Christmas tree.
Okay.
You go to Lowe's or Home Depot.
I've been to, you don't see them fully flayed
look,
out.
Norm, you are a man of taste and discernment. You can walk down that line and you will be able to spot a winning tree from 50 feet away.
I also suffer from buyer's remorse like no one else.
That's true. You do have
And
issues
if I
with that.
see if I can go into a tree lot and see one row of trees, 15 trees, and I can pick out the best one and know in my heart of hearts that's the best one and feel happy for a whole month, that will make my Christmas. If I go into Home Depot and see a pile of 200 wrapped up trees and gamble and find one that's not the best one with no returns, it's not easy getting a tree back and forth in a sedan.
I used to be a professional tree man, Norm.
I know.
You know this.
I know. Are you a tree whisperer? Can you walk into Home Depot
look.
and look at the bundle and say, that tree, that's the one?
You can look at those bundles and tell. You want a nice even wrap? You want it real tight in
You
there?
don't know where the holes are going to be.
You cut it open before you walk home with it. You look at it on site. The trick is reaching deep into the pile and using your keen insight and instinct to rip the best tree out of that enormous pile. That takes real skill. That takes heart.
That does take real skill.
I am a big fan of the $55 tree from Home Depot.
Yeah. Perfect.
I think I might be a big fan of artificial trees.
I like artificial trees.
Going forward, we've always done living trees, but I think from now on, we're actually not here for the holidays, so we might not get a tree this year, which would be a first. But yeah, kind of moving forward, I'm kind of feeling the artificial tree.
The problem with artificial trees is you buy it, you spend a lot of money, you think, oh, this is going to last forever, and then like 4 years later, it's all jacked up, and you have to get a new one.
Well, and also I invested in a tree stand, a nice wire cutter recommended tree stand.
Did you get the one? Did you get the German one with the foot pedal?
Yeah,
that thing is amazing.
I know, and it was expensive, so I got at least that needs to be amortized over many years of having a real tree.
Of spending more money.
Yeah, hold on, what's it called? I talked about it last year. I bought it.
It's so good.
I
It lets me tilt it at the perfect angle. It puts the boot onto and it's a really wide boot too. I was afraid that the tree I got this year had a too wide of a stump to fit, but it's great.
The Crinner Christmas Tree Genie XXL.
Yes. The Tree Genie XXL. That's the recommended, as tested by both Will and Norm here at Tested. You should, if you're going to buy a real tree, that's the tree base to get. Make sure you have a nice tree skirt, though.
There's one thing about the Crinner that I don't like is that the cable that pulls, it has these teeth that get pulled in by a piece of wire cable. Mm-hmm. And the one that I have, if you put too much tension on it, the cable pops out. And then basically, like, you have to rethread the cable. It's hard to rethread the cable.
I haven't going to do that yet.
But it's dramatically better than their runner-up choice, which is the Cinco C144E Express, which I also bought 3 years ago because it was a third the price, I think. Yeah, a third the price, and now it went out with the last yard sale.
All right.
Avoid the Cinco, get the Crinner. That's what I say.
Speaking of Christmas tree technology.
Yes.
Now, of course, after Thanksgiving, in addition to buying a tree, which I recommend buying a tree on the weekend after Thanksgiving. I think that's the earliest you can buy a tree and be reasonable. Don't buy it after Halloween because you're crazy.
Keep watering that thing, Norm.
Same with the music, right? You can't play music before.
Exactly. Get it for the full month and a week, month and a half. 5 weeks of tree is great. Maybe a week into the new year and then throw it away.
I went to Michael's to get craft stuff to do with my daughter over the holiday, like Thanksgiving stuff, the weekend before Thanksgiving. All of their Thanksgiving stuff had been gone for a month at that point. If you want to buy Thanksgiving stuff now, you have to buy it before Halloween, is what they told me in the store.
That's crazy. Now, since we are on the technology news segment, did you guys partake in consuming any technology during the Black Friday shopping holiday?
I bought some Blu-rays.
Black Friday feels less and less relevant.
Why? As a outdoor shopping experience, or because
just as a shopping experience?
Because it's all online.
Even that's online. There are deals throughout the year. Nothing really jumped out. Wirecutter did their thing where they sorted through thousands of deals and found 50, I believe, that were actually good. And at that point, it wasn't really worth it to stay online and waste the holiday trying to shop for things.
I bought a mouse bungee.
What's a mouse bungee?
Remember those little stands you used to have to get the cord up off the table?
Was it a novelty one?
I bought the Razor one. It's pretty nice. I really like it. It turns out it's good. I wouldn't have ever thought I liked it, but I've been having wrist problems, and somebody was like, "Hey, you should get the cord off of the desk. It helps the mouse be a little bit easier to move." Turns out they were right.
Wow. Okay.
It was $8.
All right.
Did you? Did you buy anything?
I did, and it wasn't like the best deal, just the thing I needed.
Yep.
I had housemates move out, and they took the movie server with them, the Plex server. So I invested in a QNAP server for
a little
drive.
NAS box.
Yeah, NAS box.
Yeah, I have a QNAP.
Yeah,
it's good. It's very stable.
Do you have a 2 drive or a 4 drive?
5.
5. Wow.
I think it might be a RAID. Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I got the 4 one, and I'm hoping to use that as my both movie and photo storage because I'm running out of all storage on my local drives.
Yeah,
the photo storage, are you using a cloud backup for photos too? Or you put them on Google Photos or iCloud or anything?
Lots of external hard drives filled with photos.
He's all about the raw, high res.
Well, no, I'm using. I have Backblaze.
Okay,
and everything gets sent from my drives up to Backblaze also, but I don't store in any photo bucket type things.
Okay,
like no SmugMug type.
The Google Photos is surprisingly good, and you can store your RAWs there now.
They're free for like 1600 by 1200.
It's free for whatever their good quality is,
which isn't bad.
It's like $50 a year for a terabyte, which is a lot for photos.
Not good enough. I'm shooting tens of megapixels.
No, you're a special case, Storm.
Yeah, but I'm excited to set that QNAP up. Now, have you had any issues, Jeremy, with encoding on that QNAP? Because the reviews say on
Encoding.
Transcoding.
transcoding video.
Oh, like
on the
live
fly.
transcoding
Yeah.
stuff. I typically just stream the raw file.
Mm-hmm.
I with my older one, I did have trouble with that, and so I can't even remember. Like I did install Plex on the new one, but I'm not sure I even have used it yet.
Right.
Do you copy? You don't copy movies. Like, see, the main thing I use Plex for is to copy movies to the kiddo's iPad. Like when we go on a trip someplace where we're not going to have internet.
Right.
And that on the NAS, like that's why I have it on a real PC instead of a NAS box, because the real PC does it in like 20 minutes.
It's also
and
a
the
little more
NAS
power hungry,
I mean, yeah, I'm probably spending $20 a month in electricity on that thing.
just on the server.
Yeah.
But what's nice is there's a file browser, so you can actually just browse your file system
And
using any web browser
Oh, that's nice.
and download whatever you need.
yeah. Well, speaking of traveling and needing movies, just available now today, Netflix finally has offline viewing. Downloads available. It works on iOS and Android, and it works globally for all you international Netflix subscribers.
This is-
It's something they announced a while back.
I think. Well, they kind of hinted.
They
at
kind
it.
of teased it. Yeah.
I think this is great because for months now, my wife has been watching shows and she gets frustrated when she goes on a plane and she doesn't want to. She might not have Wi-Fi. They don't let you stream Netflix on planes. And I say, well, is it on Amazon? Because Amazon Prime does let you download, has always let
Yep.
you download, movies or shows that you get for streaming there. So this is great. I can't wait to tell her about this.
Is this the complete catalog or is it some subset? Are there
I think
gaps?
it's the complete catalog.
That's really nice.
And you can select quality settings.
There's 2 quality settings as I understand it.
Well, Netflix has a ton of quality settings. I don't know how many they show because I haven't downloaded the app yet. How many they show and make transparent to the users with the whole My Downloads section. But the question is, how is this? I guess there's no way to check to see if you were just signing up for accounts, you sharing accounts, and then downloading, big libraries and sharing.
They're going to gate the downside of this is that probably the number of clients you can have connected is less.
Now, what do you mean sharing?
Like sharing an account password. If we shared a Netflix account and
I see what you mean.
and I wanted to watch a new season of House of Cards, I would just download it all into my iPad and then log off.
Right. So because
And
they
then-
cap the number of people who can stream simultaneously, but you're
Yes.
saying this could bypass that.
Well, and it's not logging off of Netflix. You'd have to turn off the internet connection on your device, which,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to turn the internet connection on my phone off to avoid paying $9 a month or whatever it is to Netflix.
I think what they're believing, what they're trusting, is that the inconvenience of it, the number of people who would do this is so low, and those people are pirating the shows anyway. It's better to make their service better and get people to subscribe.
I think that's making that service better makes me more likely to keep it in an increasingly complicated online streaming world.
Well, it can certainly track how many people log in and download stuff too. So I mean, if potentially there's somebody taking advantage of it, they could shut it down.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Any other Black Friday buys? You guys bought nothing on Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
I bought the Jungle Book, the Jon Favreau one on Blu-ray.
Is that good?
I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I bought it for the kid.
Oh God! On the airplane, I watched The Legend of Tarzan.
Well, that sounded bad.
It was a mistake.
Yeah, there's movies that are bad movies that are good to watch on airplanes, and that does not seem like one of those even.
What I did not buy was unable to buy was the NES Classic.
Yeah, you and everyone else.
Yeah, that's sold out within minutes, seconds online.
You
I
think
think after we recorded Still Untitled last week, I went over and grabbed lunch and was sitting there at lunch mashing the button on Amazon to get it, and it was just gone.
Do you think that this is a Wii kind of thing from Nintendo where they purposely made only a few of them their controlling supply in order to increase the press and demand?
I think that saying that they did that for the Wii is disingenuous.
Dude, the freaking thing was out of stock for years.
For a year.
No, it was more than a year. It was like beyond the second Christmas.
But if you look at the
that was
the
purpose.
complexity, no way, man.
Yes.
Why would you trickle them out like that if you could sell them? They make
Because-
money on
'cause-
consoles. They make
because
money on hardware.
It was like an event. It got news every time they were in stock anywhere. Everybody wanted them because they couldn't have them.
I think it's much better to sell the products that people want than to keep them from having the products that people
a lot of
get.
that has to do with distribution channels, and if it would work, the argument would work if in the peak, 5 days before Christmas, 3 days before Christmas, they suddenly unloaded, opened up their supply and let everyone all that pent up demand actually be fulfilled. But you can't. That's not how distribution works.
Dude, there is no way that they couldn't satisfy demand for over a year.
They had on-die accelerometers, which, remember, this was like 2006. Before the rise of the modern smartphone, silicon-based accelerometers were a novelty part.
Look, I'm just saying, this is okay. We're never gonna get to the bottom.
You're
of this.
sounding like. What about those chemtrails, Jeremy?
I understand if they can't do it for the first holiday, but a year later, it makes no sense. Once they establish what the demand was, this is Nintendo.
It's just like the moon landings, man. They shot it on a soundstage in Ventura Beach. Everybody knows it.
It served them well.
Well,
Look, whatever.
Let's talk
Anyway,
about the NES Classic.
you're saying that they did not constrain, supply for this. That they
I'm
actually,
saying that they built what they thought they could sell, and then it turns out way more people wanted them than they
more
expected.
demand than they expected.
Yes,
And I think
that's always what happens in these cases.
I don't know if the case. So if that was the case in NES Classic, then it was willful ignorance because people were clamoring for it the moment they announced it.
It's stupid.
I mean, the mistake is that they didn't allow pre-orders, which allowing pre-orders would give them an upfront judge of demand. But everybody knows that Nintendo is bad at like modern life in all important ways. So I don't know. Like, I don't pretend to know. I'm super interested in this. I wish that they had a USB port on it so that you could put more games on.
Wireless gamepads. They should have had wireless gamepads.
I mean, but it's $60.
No, they should have had wireless gamepads. The things are what, 2.5 feet?
Yeah, but
the cables.
But Bluetooth SNES controllers are like $35 each. That would have made those incredibly more expensive.
Well, whatever. They're mass producing them. I mean, and it doesn't have to be Bluetooth. Yeah, whatever. They should have been wireless because it's a modern device. Has HDMI out. Should have wireless controllers.
Or at least USB.
Did Nintendo do something to you?
So much. You guys are so wrong on this whole Nintendo subject. I don't know. I did not expect this from you guys.
What did Nintendo do to you, Jeremy?
Nothing other than they, like my wife had to go buy a Wii at midnight from Walmart for me for Christmas.
Had
they
to.
were impossible to get.
I just walked up to the GameSpot over in Colma. I saw a line there one day, and I walked up. I got in the line, and I got a pre-order right there. Got it on day one. No
Me too.
problem.
Yeah.
I got one for you at the same time. Yeah.
2 targets.
Well, we were in Chicago. There wasn't much happening out there.
Well. So you made your wife go stand out in the cold to get you a Wii for
I didn't
Christmas?
make her. She did it.
That
She's
is
wonderful.
ice cold.
She's
man.
wonderful.
She is a delightful.
I'll
lady.
never forget it.
Yeah, I like. It's interesting. That thing is interesting to me on so many different levels because it is such a weird piece of hardware, and the fact that people are going bonkers for it is really interesting to me.
Given that 5 minutes in an emulator and you could do kind of the same thing.
It's not exactly the same.
It's
though.
the giftable nature of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the beauty, like the beautiful object. It's a tiny NES, which who doesn't want a small, cute NES?
And like I'm totally fine setting up the emulator and playing with that. My daughter has gotten really into Mario in the last month and a half, and we're going through like the history of Mario games.
Wow.
Which is awesome. I would totally get that just so that she can play Mario 1, 2, and 3 in a way that doesn't involve me either firing up the Wii and going to the virtual console stuff or setting up the emulator machine with all the gamepad and rigmarole that comes with that.
But she has to sit 2.5 feet from the screen.
I mean, she does that anyway. It's not like she literally lays there with the Wii U gamepad 6 inches from her face on her back. In the exact same way, I want to yell at her and say, "Don't hold that so close to your face." And I'm like, "Wait, I sound like my mom."
Now, what do you guys think about the fact that you can't put new games on this? Do you like that it's self-contained, curated?
First thing I wanted
package?
to do was I wanted to see the explosion. I wanted to see the dismantlement. And I fixed it, or somebody did one.
Yeah.
And there's like no clear way to hack more games on there.
Well,
I was really hoping there would be.
There's pads for a USB port on the board, as I understand it, but there's no USB port soldered onto those pads.
Probably for debugging.
Yeah. Or for, that would
Injecting.
be my guess. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, somebody eventually will figure out a way to do it. The interface is really cool. I mean, it's like an 8-bit, well-done Nintendo interface, so I'd love to be able to expand that.
Now, there's also a Famicom version.
This is the thing that
There's a
think is
Japanese
super
classic
cool.
version that's a different form factor and has a different selection of games.
It's shaped like the original Famicom, the red and white one. The controllers nest into the side. They did the dumbest possible thing and hardwired the controllers into the console, just like the original Famicom was, which is just hostile.
I didn't know the original Famicom had hardwired.
I found out about it because of this.
That's interesting.
And it's a different list of games, slightly different. So the U.S. version, the big one for me is I think River City Ransom is not on the U.S. version and it is on the Japanese version. So yeah.
Now, of course, the rumors and speculation is that Nintendo's maybe next year will do a SNES version of the classic.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that's the one I would want. I don't think we're going to get wireless controllers there either.
You were from the SNES generation.
Yes, I was definitely from the SNES generation. And more games. I mean,
those games have aged better
yeah.
for the most part.
Classics.
Well, it only
Super
comes with
Mario
one
World.
controller. right?
Yeah, but the other one's $10. You can use your
That's what
classic
I'm- so
Gamepad Pro.
This gets back to my
from your
wireless
Wii.
argument. It's just one controller, and then you just that maybe you increase the price of the extras by $10. Yep.
I mean, there are a lot of mistakes made with this product. I think that it's interesting that it had the resonance that it did.
Yeah.
What games would you must have on the SNES version?
Oh God. I think you could do a SNES version of just the Mario games: Super Mario World, Mario Kart, Mario
All-Stars,
RPG,
tennis.
Yeah, not Mario Paint.
There was
obviously,
just
but
the one Super Mario game, right?
Super Mario World.
Well,
That's
no,
it.
and then there was Yoshi's Island,
Yeah, but
which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Super
yeah.
Mario World 2.
spin-off.
But if you're talking about there's I would put Star Fox, Donkey Kong,
Donkey Kong,
Chrono Trigger,
Pilot Wings.
Yep.
It's a bad game.
There's
Mario, like I would play just Mario Kart, to be honest. That Mario Kart still holds up
I liked
very well.
Diddy Kong Racing myself. There's
Diddy
more
Kong was good.
verticality.
The Diddy Kong Racing was a N64 game.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
No. Okay, never mind.
There's no verticality.
No. It's
Mario
all
Kart.
SNES
flat.
games.
Yeah.
F-Zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super Castlevania, Super Metroid.
Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Was that good on the SNES?
I don't
That's
think
that's
so.
how I played it.
I didn't. I was not into those games. The Babalities with Mortal Kombat.
That was like a Genesis thing, right?
No, Babalities were on. Maybe it was actually. I can't remember.
Contra.
Super
Super
C.
Contra. Oh God, I love Super Contra.
That Super C might have been a NES game.
No, I don't know. There's a Contra that lets you do top down.
Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Final
Zelda game.
Fantasy 3/6.
Wait, was that Link to the Past? That was the big Zelda game
Link
on
to
the
the Past
SNES?
was the only Zelda game on the SNES.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't own a SNES. That was the generation. I skipped it. I just skipped it.
You missed the greatest console.
I had Atari and I had the NES, and then I went to the Super. No, then I went to the
N64.
N64.
Oh man, the SNES. You need to get a SNES more than anything.
No, I mean I played the games, but they
That's
just
not
don't
the
have any
same.
nostalgia for me.
I'm going to do a random tangent. Kind of belongs in the pop culture talk, but I did see a movie in the past couple of weeks that I was wondering if you had seen, Jeremy. Now, you of course have seen King of Kong.
Of course.
Classic film now.
Steve Wiebe.
The director has gone to actually make other non-documentary films, but about Twin Galaxies and the competitive Donkey Kong arena brought the Billy Mitchell to our world, which
Billy
is
Mitchell.
like that's a single greatest achievement that film ever did. There is a spiritual follow-up to King of Kong
Didn't know that.
called Man vs. Snake.
Is this about the guy that put the armor on and tried to get inside the anaconda?
This is not this is not the Discovery.
Is that
no.
true?
That's the thing that happened.
Yeah, there was
It was a bad
there was
idea.
Discovery stunt where this guy
Idiot.
designed a armor that he could get swallowed whole by an anaconda, and big spoiler, it was hugely hyped up. He didn't get swallowed by the anaconda. He barely made it in, and then he was afraid it would hurt the anaconda, and then so they aborted.
Well, he was
afraid he would
minutes
hurt
into
the
it.
anaconda.
That occurred to him at that point?
Yes,
Okay.
minutes into it.
Mental giant.
Yes. Man vs. Snake it's a new documentary film about competitive Nibbler.
Really?
Nibbler, which is the original
The Snake game?
Yes.
The one that the Nokia Snake game is based on?
Now, it's Nibbler is a interesting game
God, this
because
is great. It sounds
it's
like a
the first
mockumentary.
one. No, it's real.
It's
It's the
Christopher
first game.
Guest.
It's
That's
the
what I
first
thought.
game that lets you achieve 1 billion points in a game because it was the first one that had more than 9 digits.
Look, the numbers go all the way to here.
And of course,
This one goes to 11.
so I'm not because the documentary is incredible. I love this documentary. So, of course, the reason it ties to King of Kong is that the world champion Nibbler player, the first person ever to pass 1 billion, also originated in the hometown of Twin Galaxies under Walter Day's tutelage. So Walter Day comes back out, and he was a contemporary of Billy Mitchell. And Billy Mitchell, legend was it,
Hot Sauce King Billy Mitchell?
Hot Sauce King was he makes an appearance in this. He was the one who egged him on, to encouraged him to continue playing. He played for 2 days straight
Oh, I love this stuff.
to get 1 billion points.
And then he just walked away.
and then he walked away.
Before, like, he had lives left.
He had lives
and was
left.
just like, I can't
and
do
he
it
walked away
anymore.
and wanted some wanted a burrito or something.
Didn't his snake get bigger and bigger?
Yeah, so the big it gets to a point where it's too
Eventually
big,
it's all
and then
snake.
it just you have to lose points, but you gain lives more than you lose lives.
So
and the
he
way
restarted.
and the way you can actually it's all about lives, right? So the way you can play a marathon version of this is that you just build up your lives, and if you have like 50 mans left, then you can just walk away, take a pee break, take a nap break, and let your lives slowly drain.
A classic Billy Mitchell move.
Exactly. And then come back and play. And so there's like, and then
Wow.
it's so he achieved that in the 80s, in the 1983. And the documentary is about him coming back 30 years later to try to get his score back because there's a controversy about who actually has the highest Nibbler score in the world.
This is great, man.
So here,
can't wait.
But I mean, the thing about King of Kong is that everybody knows Donkey Kong, right? We've all played Donkey Kong. We all played the first level. Most people can kind of master the second level, and then that third level screws everyone over. But watching King of Kong actually made me able to consistently beat the third level, which made me a better Donkey Kong player.
Oh yeah, you don't want. There's no desire. There's no strategy.
I don't ever want to play Nibbler again.
This doesn't. Yeah, the documentary does not make you want to play Nibbler. But the characters in this documentary, there are villains.
You mean the people?
There are heroes.
I would say that's what's great about King of Kong.
And it is a dramatic. And in the way, I mean, like all documentaries, it's the vision of the filmmakers. They tell the story they want to tell.
I guess I'm saying with King of Kong, we've all been Steve Wiebe. We've all faced that third board.
Yeah, no one
and
really
we've all
relates.
looked at it, and none of us thought, oh man, I should take a grease pencil on my Donkey Kong cabinet and mark the path of the rivets so that I know how to get past them.
So here's the kicker: the hero, the protagonist of this documentary, the kid who scored the first billion-point score in a video game
In 83?
In 83, and tries to come back and do it in this documentary against all odds and against enemies and villains. His name, Timothy McVeigh.
Oh, man. And I thought I had it bad.
You're right.
Oh, that poor bastard.
I know.
Wow.
That's great, man.
Cannot, it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix?
It's on
I can download it
Netflix.
right now?
You can download it as we're listening to the podcast.
This is awesome.
And watch it. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I apologize that it slipped my mind when we recorded the podcast last, but
Man versus Snake.
Man versus Snake. And it is your watching homework this weekend if you have Netflix. You guys got to watch it. And it's a perfect pairing with King of Kong.
I love a perfect pairing. I love a good movie pairing,
As soon as I boot up Netflix, I get a download and go
Download.
Whoa.
information
Wow.
screen.
Yeah.
But it makes that 256 gig iPhone suddenly worthwhile.
Right on. So did you guys hear about that Tesla? As soon as they bought Solar City,
The deal's
acquired
done.
it, they announced to the world, "Oh, we're already powering an entire island."
So what happens at night?
No, they have their Tesla power packs.
Yeah.
So they
Batteries.
have,
Solar-
they have a whole array of them, like 60 of them, that's powering the island 100% all the time.
What happens
This is
if
the
somebody-
equivalent of Elon opening up the volcano and saying GoldenEye is activated, right?
What happens if somebody leaves their hairdryer on or something and like they run the battery down? Is that not a real threat?
Well, it's in American Samoa, okay? So it's a perfect condition. This is like
I don't understand what that means.
it's near Tahiti, right? I mean, it's
equatorial.
It's perfect weather all the time, sunny, and it's a small island. There's only there's less than, I don't know what 600 people on the island. So their energy needs are not that great, but they had been burning diesel fuel, 300 gallons a day, in order to power the island.
That doesn't seem like that much.
Well, but now they have to burn nothing.
Well, okay. I mean, it's infinitely better, but 300 gallons a day for 600 people
Right,
seems like a really insignificant amount of
that's
fuel.
what I'm
But we're
saying,
talking about millions of barrels being imported a day.
Right, and they would sometimes get delays. The ships couldn't get there, so they would have to,
Like ration?
yeah, exactly, ration the power.
That
And
sucks.
So now that's not a problem anymore. And I guess they're probably not running too many hair dryers or too many
Like they're not running their Plex server in the garage
GTX
24/7.
1080s. Yeah.
What's the are they using those cool like roof panels, the ones that look like normal shingles?
No, the standard solar panels.
Oh, okay.
But it's just brilliant. I mean,
Could give rise to that island's first supervillain to tempest
mean-
up and take power away from the good people.
The
American Samoa.
monorail. The monorail don't run on fumes. He's got his volcano layer. That's where Elon's volcano layer has to be, right? It's in American Samoa.
solar energy microgrid that at 1.4 megawatts can cover nearly 100% of their electrical needs.
1.4 megawatt. Like I know people in San Mateo that have houses that use 1.4 megawatts with an electric car or two.
I don't know about that, dude.
A day? Maybe not a day. I don't know. I'd have to ask.
5,328 solar panels and 60 Tesla power packs.
Okay.
So, and this is, they built this up already. So this is maybe not even the latest generation stuff.
When you say 60 power packs, do you mean like the consumer ones, or do you mean the big giant, huge ones, like the
They only
industrial
have
size
one
ones?
now.
No, they have like an industrial city scale one too.
Oh, right. No, I don't actually know. That's a good question.
That's cool.
No, well, yeah, the future is here.
Future is
Now, that's-
already in American Samoa.
There's no way to properly segue this, but Will, I'm glad you're here this week because I wanted to ask you about kitchen hardware, kitchen
Yeah.
technology, and centrifuges in the kitchen.
My
What are they
Joule is
used
coming
for?
tomorrow.
And or your chef steps
Yeah,
Joule?
my Joule. I'm excited.
Yeah. What are centrifuges used for, and is there any reason a home chef might want a centrifuge?
So, as you might remember from our 2012 visit to Modernist Cuisine, or our 2015 visit to Chef Steps, you can use centrifuges to separate different densities of liquids from each other. So, for example, at Modernist, we separated the lipids and proteins in pea from the starch.
These are not. This is pea as in green peas.
I mean, I guess it would work with normal urine as well, but
Okay.
we were using peas,
Yep.
frozen peas. They pureed frozen peas. We ran them in the centrifuge for a fairly significant length of time, and then you ended up getting all the materials in the pea separated. So you had at the top a pure liquid that was kind of tasted like pea water. It was a very strongly flavored pea flavor. But was just clear like water. Next was this thin layer of fats that they called pea butter that spread like butter. It felt like butter. It was all the fat from inside the pea, which is a relatively insignificant portion of a normal pea. And then below that was the starch, which is all the white stuff that's inside the pea when you chomp it. And that pea butter and the pea water on the top both had really intense flavors and were really interesting.
You can make a soup with one and a
Exactly.
spread with the other.
Yeah, the pea butter spread like normal butter, and it tasted like spring. It tasted like the most intense pea flavor you've ever tasted. It was really good.
If you want to make your own pea butter at home, the people at Booker and Dax, which is Dave Arnold's company, they made the Searsall. We visited them also a couple of years ago. They announced a crowdfunding campaign for a home centrifuge machine called the Spinzall.
Really?
Now it's $700, but it looks like a food processor. It doesn't require you having a bunch of
Usually centrifuges are pretty big.
yeah. So this is small. They say it's portable, and and you can make half a liter of puree in there.
So normally, when we went and visited Scott Heimendinger in his basement food lab in Seattle, he had a centrifuge that was like a decommissioned laboratory centrifuge. It was one of the smaller ones I've ever seen, but it was still very large. And this is substantially smaller, it looks like, from the pictures. We haven't seen it in person yet.
Yeah, there's some videos of it online, but there's a whole. If you search Spinzall, Spinzall, I think they're looking for backers to get it. So if you're someone who wants to experiment with having a centrifuge at home, I wonder if you could use it. Is there any practical reason to use it outside the kitchen?
I mean, if you want to like separate isotopes to refine,
I think those are a little different
bomb
kind of
or something like
centrifuges.
that. No, it's the same technology.
Same technology. All right, there you go.
So the thing about the centrifuge is if you were in the market for one as like lab surplus, you're looking at that price or more for what looks like a less capable device. So
This is like the salad thing I used to have. Put a bunch of lettuce in the salad
spins
spinner,
much faster than that.
and it would spin it and get the water out.
Yeah, it's exactly like that, but
much
enough to separate the lipids and the starch from the lettuce if you pureed it first.
dense parts of materials and liquid parts.
So the thing that Dave used to use the centrifuge for, or became famous for using the centrifuge for, was he made a clarified gin and juice, which was grapefruit juice that he clarified. So he spun all of the solids out of the grapefruit juice and ended up with just like this pure grapefruit essence. And he would use that to then make a gin and juice at Booker and Dax. in the
Laid
old days.
back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind.
mind.
Man vs. Snake. More movies like this, says Netflix. Mascots by Christopher Guest.
I saw it.
Oh.
Not his
Worst
best
one.
work.
I think
Yeah.
the worst one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of mascots. Have you guys talked about? Did you talk about the Muni hack yet?
No, this happened over the weekend in San Francisco. Our public transportation system was hacksorted.
Yeah, so the basically they got infected with ransomware. The Muni staff that responded on social media and to the news seemed kind of flummoxed by the whole thing.
I haven't heard anything about this. Catch me up.
So they were infected. Muni's machines were infected with ransomware, presumably at headquarters, but also the payment processing stations in stations across the city. And the scene, the screen said, showed like a command prompt or a terminal window, and just you hacked
What?
with an email address.
Wait,
your data is encrypted. Email this address to get it back.
not the ticket booths.
The ticket booths.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the thing that you put your credit card into to get a Muni pass or
Yeah.
add money to your Clipper card were hacked. BART was okay. So in San Francisco, we have we have multiple mass transit systems. The two train ones and our BART, which goes between Oakland and San Francisco and the East Bay and like all the way out to Walnut Creek. And then Muni, which is like the light rail and bus system inside the city. So basically all weekend while they were fixing this problem, the Muni system was open for free use by anybody without having to buy a ticket.
Oh.
But like the idea that the ticket processing stuff and all that is accessible to someone to install ransomware. Now, like, look, the number of ways for that to get in, it could have been as simple as somebody downloading something on their computer at work, and then that computer being the one that they use to do firmware updates to the terminals, and the terminal firmware update going out with the same infection that was on the PC at work in the office. But it's a little bit scary from just a future dystopian, everything's run by computers, the whole world is made of software, and oh, by the way, that's also a bad thing.
Have they verified that any information was stolen? Credit card numbers?
I
Don't know.
don't see.
So when I got up to the ticket booth, it already said you hacked.
It said you hacked.
So it's not. They didn't wait till I inserted my card.
No, you
Okay.
just it was just jacked up. You knew. It says somebody else. So Brian Krebs, the Krebs on Security guy, who's one of the premier cybersecurity reporters, said that somebody else infiltrated the Muni hacker's own email using the ransom note provided on the screen, and this guy wanted 100 bitcoins to unhijack the transit system.
Wow.
So it was cryptome27 at yandex.com.
You could have given him a half a Bitcoin.
No.
You still have it?
Oh yeah. What is the value of a Bitcoin?
What's that? You know, I still look back on the day that we spent waiting for your Bitcoin to come back.
Holy moly!
What?
$743. I'm in the black.
If-
Black Friday strikes again.
So if you had invested that in, say, the stock market at the same time,
What's
it would be
the
worth,
stock market?
you know, you buy turnips from that woman on Sunday afternoon. And then you
The
sell
thing
them on
that's at an
Thursday.
all-time high right now. You know,
The
that
stock
thing.
market?
Yeah, the stock market.
The stock market.
Um,
Wow. Yeah.
Cash
It
in.
wa- 700. It was at one point. I think we got it for what, $400, $500. I gotta look at that chart here. Woo, $743.
You're doing very well for yourself.
Once it hits at 800, I might be tempted to sell.
getting out. What's your tax situation on Bitcoin? Do you have to report that? you
I
think?
don't, I'm not going to talk
Just
about
don't
it
talk
anymore.
about it. Okay, we're not accountants.
Yeah.
Watching that garage get dismantled while drinking beer and waiting for your Bitcoin to come
excava-
through.
the,
one of the greatest afternoons of my life, like
Yes.
for simple pleasures.
South by Southwest.
A 3-story concrete garage getting jackhammered down while we can sit and just drink all the beer while we wait for Norm's Bitcoin was a good day.
Yeah, and I still didn't get it. It still didn't get fulfilled until
Nope.
after we got back.
Should have
from-
paid 3 cents for the miner's fee. Who knew?
What is DirectTV now?
Oh, so for cord cutters, and I'm actually potentially in the market for this. So AT&T, which owns DirectTV, they announced a while back that they would have this PlayStation Vue competitor, like Sling TV competitor, their cable replacement a la carte service. You would get up to 100 channels, including premium channels, I think, for $35 a month.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
Including HBO and stuff? Or like
I don't know if it includes
Stars?
HBO. I think, yeah. But they announced it's going live today, and it's the $35 a month is actually a limited time offer.
Okay.
So limited time, like you sign up for that and you get that offer forever, or it's only good for 6 months?
And no, it's $5 extra for HBO. So HBO is what you don't get with
That's
the
a pretty good deal, though.
yeah.
Because HBO by itself
$5,
is 15, right?
$5 in Cinemax.
HBO
is-
now.
So let me actually
There's
get
no
the
DVR
exact
as I understand
detail.
it, though, right?
Yeah, there's no good DVR, so it's not as functional as PlayStation View. You get 2 simultaneous streams. You have to pay more for more streams at once. The offer for 100 channels is only good if you sign up soon, but it will be $35 indefinitely for you. But the standard packages, it goes up to $60 a month if you wait.
If you wait.
Yeah.
So the problem with this though isn't the service. It seems like the problem is that AT&T is bundling it with their internet service on both mobile and landlines.
Now, that's the question. Can you get it without AT&T internet?
I thought the whole point of having an over-the-top service is that you don't have to have the service.
AT&T does home internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get DSL from AT&T.
Uverse or whatever.
Uverse. Yeah, it's like
whatever they call
fancy
it.
DSL, or occasionally fiber, but mostly DSL. The thing that The Verge and other tech sites have reported on is that basically this is much like T-Mobile's what is it, their zero whatever plan, where you get Spotify access for where your Spotify doesn't count toward your T-Mobile data cap. This DirectTV service doesn't count toward your data caps on AT&T services. So
Wait. So no, DirectTV now will work on any internet connection.
that's my understanding.
yeah, but it will be exempt from AT&T's internet connections.
Right, which is a net neutrality
yes,
thing.
exactly.
So the point is they're basically giving people a little bit of what they want so that they can continue bundling their services in a way that is more reminiscent of, say, cable TV in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s than the open free internet that we've become accustomed to.
Now, the reason I'm in the market for this is,
Because you hate the internet?
well, I hate Comcast.
Everybody
Comcast
hates
Xfinity,
Comcast.
And Sonic Gigabit is available in my home.
Oh,
for $50.
fuck
a
yeah.
month.
Oh, you found out.
Yes, at home.
And that's uncapped.
And that's, I believe, uncapped gigabit. So I'm tempted to go $50 a month Sonic Gigabit internet.
$50?
Yeah.
No,
Dude.
For 100 megabit each way? Or gigabit each way?
Gigabit.
Each way?
I don't know about each way.
You're going to have better internet there than you have at the office.
I have much better.
Dude, I pay $80 for like 100 megabit.
I pay $90 for 120 megabit, and I am constantly being harassed by Comcast for the 1 terabyte for the caps.
You too? I just started getting these notices. I didn't even know there was a cap, but there's a 1 terabyte
they sent
cap
you an email to your
per
Comcast
month,
account in October 24th.
which I don't use, spam account.
Right.
And I had no idea, and now I didn't even know they could do this. I'm browsing the web, some random web page.
Yeah,
they
they
give
inject
me
stuff.
a pop-up into a random web page somehow.
Yep.
That's freaky technology.
So I called them when I got that pop up and said, "Hey, I didn't know about this cap thing. What the fuck's going on?" And they said, "Oh yeah, we sent you an email on blah 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 and sent you a paper letter on such and such a date." And I was like, "Okay, sorry." And then they said you get 2 freebie months where you can go over. But if you need to sign up for the unlimited after that, then you have to do it at the first of the month, and it's $50. They won't prorate it over the course of the month. So if you go over, as I did on the 8th of the month, because I'm uploading a few terabytes of movies to the internet right now, then my option was pay $10 per 20 gigabytes for the remainder of the month. To put this in perspective, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was 150 gigabytes with the Modern Warfare bonus remaster.
yeah.
So like that's 15% of your overall cap for the month, which is insane.
This technology where they're injecting a pop-up into my webpage, the only thing I've ever seen like that is, some sort of malware.
Well, they do it on the server side.
No,
On
no
the
doubt. But
connection
I, of
side.
course, thought it was malware.
Yeah.
I thought
I mean,
it
it
was
was.
fake.
It's Comcast.
It's crazy. I would love to get this gigabit.
You need to move to the sunset.
Well, it's a gigabit download. I don't know what they're promising for uploads, and because it's residential, not business, they're not guaranteed speeds.
right.
But
You
it
could
is
pay
tempting,
$200 a month to get their business service.
and it wouldn't be a gigabit. It would be
100 megabits.
Yeah, 100 megabits for
That's
guaranteed
still-
speeds.
Yeah.
But it's very tempting to get gigabit potential fiber for $50 a month at home, plus pay $35 for DirectTV for the 100 channels. I am really conflicted right now because the reason is I would have to watch it through Apple TV or something, like their app, and I hate app-based live TV.
I actually am almost exclusively watching app-based live TV now on the Apple TV or Roku. The thing, I don't have a problem with them doing internet fast lanes and unmetered partner connections and stuff like that, as long as there's competition on the local level as real competition amongst ISPs. So you're in a situation where you have Comcast, AT&T, and Sonic. One of them offers a demonstrably superior service, and you can tell the other two to go pound sand. In my neighborhood, and presumably in Jeremy's neighborhood, our only choice for faster than 10 megabit internet, which is barely broadband in 2016, is Comcast. And the metered connections and all the bullshit they make you jump through, and the bundling is untoward and anti-competitive.
I love that on Sonic's website, the way they demonstrate how fast gigabit is, communicate how fast gigabit is to potential new customers who don't understand the potential gigabit. They say stream
Jeremy
4K movies on Netflix simultaneously on 40 devices.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot of bandwidth.
That's
a fat pipe.
Look, if Brad Shoemaker from Giant Bomb got the Sonic gigabit a few months ago, and we were talking about my movie uploading over Thanksgiving. He was like, "Look, you could do that in like 4 days on my connection. What's taken you 2 months to do so far." So yeah,
No data caps.
no data caps.
No data. I'm doing it.
When
I got to do it.
Your house is made for Sonic. When you and when you ask questions to those guys on Twitter, the CEO answers. It's really nice. Like
I got to do it. And
they're
you know,
super good.
even if I'm not going to cancel,
it's a small
Comcast.
business.
How long is that going to last?
You should cancel Comcast. Fuck
even if
them.
I'm not going to immediately cancel it, there's no reason I can't double up in the meantime.
Well, you can kill the internet and keep the
They
cable.
won't, that's what I don't think they'll let you do.
Yeah, they will. They'll charge you more for the TV, but it'll be like $10 a month more. So who cares?
Really?
Yeah,
I'm going to do that.
yeah.
Because I have housemates who like the experience of
Yeah.
Comcast.
I can get 10 megabit from Sonic.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
That's the DSL
I'm
promise.
so sorry. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to. Do we have any more technology news that we want to talk
Do
about?
you want to talk about the Surface Studio teardown? I thought that was really interesting.
Okay. So iFixit got a Surface Studio. They tore it down. They found out, of course, the memory, the processor, GPU, everything soldered on, but the hard drive is actually removable. So you can upgrade
The SSD
that.
though, right? It's got to be like an M.2 slot or something like that.
No,
right?
it's not. It's a actual small.
Oh, a two
small
and a half
drive.
incher?
2.5 inch
Oh,
drive.
wow.
Yeah.
I thought that the Alexa screen rumor was interesting. The Alexa.
Wait, hold on. Let me
Okay.
get the segue thing. So Microsoft got that right in terms of one thing you could upgrade on the Surface Studio. One thing Microsoft got wrong is they released Solitaire on iOS and Android, and guess what? No one cares about Solitaire, and what people care less about is paying $2 a month,
What?
a subscription service for an app to get rid of ads on Solitaire. I don't know how this got through.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
On iOS?
On iOS, Microsoft thought Solitaire would be so compelling that people would want to pay $2 a month to not see ads to play Solitaire on iOS.
Is it the Klondike one or is it the Free Cell one? Because I might pay for Free Cell. Free Cell's
the mobile
pretty
it has
good.
Free Cell and Klondike and Spider and Trip Peaks and Pyramid game modes and Xbox Live integration.
Oh, so it's the iOS 10. I mean, it's the Windows 10 Solitaire app just on iOS and Android. That's insane.
The free app on Windows.
Don't you
The
get it
free
free with
app
Xbox
on
Live?
Windows.
Do you get no ads with Xbox Live Gold? I'm paying them $60 a year for a thing I literally never use.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a subscription for no ads.
Subscription.
Only like a one-time upsell.
That's how strongly Microsoft believes the Solitaire market is.
It's a fifth the price of World of Warcraft.
No, I reviewed the Surface Studio and I really, really loved it.
Do you have a studio?
We sent it.
Oh.
But the pen feature on it is the cool thing. Like, not saying on a touchscreen, being able to draw on it. And I do believe that, we have the iPad Pro now. We have the Surface stuff. Stylus is making a comeback. And not only just for laptops and all-in-ones, but also for e-ink readers. And there's a new tablet called I think that's a clever name, Remarkable. Maybe not a clever name.
I disagree.
Okay. A novel name, Remarkable, and this is an e-ink reader that has supposedly a ultra low latency stylus, and I'd be interested to see how actual low latency it is. And the stylus to draw on e-ink is interesting to me as a replacement for paper. And I think they're doing. They just announced it with their pre-sale. But Will, you were saying Alexa?
Yeah,
rumors?
I saw a rumor on Engadget or Ars Technica that there's a potential Alexa tablet coming. Alexa coming next year with a small screen.
Yeah, so I think this what the rumor is it wouldn't be a tablet. It would be still a stationary center of room device with the omnidirectional mic, but also bring in on the high end have a 7-inch touchscreen.
And it's also supposed to have a high-end speaker,
Right.
so it'll
Right.
sound great.
Premium device.
I don't know that I need a screen on my Alexa.
No, I
Well,
think it's a good idea.
I think it is. Yeah. So we
What
talked
would you
about
put on
this.
it?
I think there's a lot of information that can be relayed in terms of either feedback or actual useful information that you want voice access to.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about how Siri gives you information
Dude,
from map directions to your calendar to recipes.
Show me pictures of rhinos. I mean, this is
I guess that's true.
this is now really getting into Star Trek territory, where my kids already use Alexa every day. They're going to use it so much more if it has a display attached
And they don't have to touch it.
I'd rather have one with an HDMI output that can just flip the TV on, show what I have on it, and then flip it off when it's done.
And that's like the kind of far future dream where there are screens everywhere. But I don't think people want to have their TVs on all the time.
But
I think they want self-contained devices.
But with HDMI CEC, you should be able to just have it plug in. The TV flips on. I mean, I have an old plasma, so it takes a long time to
That's
turn on.
the thing.
But if you have a modern OLED or LCD, it flips right on. Flips on, shows you the thing you're asking for, and then a minute later it turns it right back off.
I don't think it's going to be nearly as immediate.
No,
as
but you want
totally want
built-in
that.
display. I mean, eventually you want like some sort of projected
Projector.
hologram above
Yeah.
the Alexa. That
No,
would be
that
cool.
sounds like as if you're sitting on the bridge of some sort of starship and there's
Yeah.
a giant screen in front of you.
Well, that's what Sony tried to do with their thing is to put in a pico projector in it. So if you put it in the center of the room, it can
What thing?
they had like I think at CES this last year, a prototype they showed.
was it in the category of things that they're never going to release?
Yes.
Okay.
But I've always thought having a pico projector built into some device like this just for feedback that they can flip on and off and be self-contained would be a good idea. And I think the screen is probably the next best thing.
So there's two things on Alexa that have happened recently. One is that they added like room, like it now detects multiple inputs and it goes with the one that hears best. So if you have multiple Alexas, it doesn't fire all of them at the same time,
I think that works really well
which
too.
works shockingly well. The other thing is that over the holiday, the dots, the small puck one, were like $30 or $40 each.
So worth it.
Which is incredible. I was very tempted to put them in every room in my house.
We have one in 3 rooms.
Yeah, we have the front of the house and back of the house, but I'm going to put one in the office and one in the kitchen at some
Skynet.
point. It's really good. It's a little bit scary in a modern surveillance world to have the always voice on, always voice. Like I want Bezos to come out and say, "Hey, look, we're anti-authoritarian states, so here's how we're protecting your this thing that we've now invaded your house with."
How do you get to the Star Trek future without that, though? You got to give into it.
So you're saying we have to go through the eugenics wars to get to the utopia?
Well, how do you get there without giving into that kind of surveillance
I don't
potential?
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're saying in order to make the ultimate human, we have to go through.
Well, you know,
Khan.
in Star Trek, actually, they're all local computers. All the processing was done locally on the ships. There was,
There's a
there was
library
no,
computer.
There was no cloud, inter-ship cloud mother network.
It's directly underneath the bridge, the computer. Yeah.
It was directly on
You're telling me that Starfleet couldn't listen into the Enterprise even if they wanted to?
The ships, it would be the bandwidth. It would be, the subspace
They-
networks
no, no,
were low bandwidth.
They could take over. They could take over the ship if they were in proximity because they had the control codes.
Proximity, but
they're
not.
reliant.
But there was no giant network of data that you would have to send packets back home
That's true.
to give the daily logs and the updates.
Well, maybe you just got to think of Earth as a local area network.
There you go.
So, like you and
the greater
Amazon, it is local.
Yeah.
Hmm.
With so many holodecks. All right. Before we jump into our next segment, I want to also thank the other sponsor of this week's episode, and that is VMware. And have you ever watched a movie and gone, well, why didn't they just fix the problem like that? Of course, the answer is usually because if they did that, then there wouldn't be a movie. But tech pioneer VMware said, screw it, they're going to make that what if question and turn it into a podcast. So they dropped a couple of IT guys into their classic science fiction movies like Star Wars, Matrix, Terminator, and they have these guys go in and expose Hollywood's biggest technology plot holes while having a lot of fun at the original writers and directors' expense. It's kind of clever and funny. And it's got a great supporting cast, including one of the best Jeff Goldblum impressions you've ever heard in their Independence Day episode. The podcast is called IT is Greater Than Sci-Fi, and all 8 episodes of the series are live right now at vmware.com/radius/sci-fi, and you can download it from iTunes, SoundCloud, and other usual suspects. So thank them for sponsoring this podcast. And now let's move on to our next segment. The VR Minute. Virtual reality this week.
Gashore is still out, so there's no science to be talked about.
No, yeah.
No science happens.
I really wish it was virtual reality next week
Why?
Why?
because Oculus Touch comes out next week.
I can come back.
There's so much good stuff to talk about.
I haven't used any of the software that I've had the touch controllers for almost a year.
You've
now.
had the touch controllers for a year now?
Yeah.
Can you say that? I guess you're a developer.
I mean, they
A lot of people have had
look
it for a long time.
look. When you saw there was a specific size box at GDC this year that you saw developers walking around with, that you were like, oh, yep, they've been by the Oculus.
Oh,
booth.
they've been blessed.
Right.
Oculus Touch does come out next week, and surprisingly, the build-up to it hasn't been as wide-ranging as for Oculus launch.
What do you mean, the
Like,
build up to
the
it?
mainstream.
Well, it turns
reporting,
out
and the
that
target
maybe
customer
backfired a little bit.
The target customer for Oculus Touch is Oculus Rift owners. That's who they're catering to, and they're
Yeah.
doing blog posts, I think, regularly about featuring some of the titles. And obviously, a lot of developers who have content for HTC Vive have already announced they're porting stuff over to Oculus Touch. And from the events we've been to, and the most recent one being Oculus Connect 3, they showed a bunch of Oculus Touch exclusive titles. Some that are coming out this year, some that are coming out next year. But it doesn't feel like a big console launch.
Do they have they released the full list of launch titles yet?
I don't even think so.
What I guess you must mean that there hasn't been a marketing push,
Yeah.
and maybe that they realized that wouldn't help them because they already have that audience built in with their current customer base.
But isn't it the time now to make the marketing push for Oculus as a platform again?
I
Now
suppose,
that you can
but-
show all the videos
But
of
then
mixed reality
but then
and
you
hand
have
presence,
to somehow communicate to people. You don't just buy one thing; you have to buy these two things.
and there is no bundle.
Is
there
that
are
right?
bundles. You can buy bundles on Amazon.
I
and
mean,
Best
there's no
Buy.
one package.
There's no one SKU.
There's no SKU.
That's it.
That'll come next year. I mean,
Like, why wouldn't they do a SKU?
for people who want to buy a Christmas present that has everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can go to Amazon and buy both in a bundle and get the boxes at the same time, and life finds a way. That's the Christmas 2016 problem, is that you got your touch controllers and your Rift for Christmas, and you open the touch controllers first, thus ruining the surprise on the Rift.
When does the tested review go up live?
I believe since the controllers do come out next week, that we should have some coverage next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they're promising a massive number of titles, something like 50 titles, and there's no list that I've seen yet, which is I mean, I don't know.
from the things we've seen, Oculus Connect, the things I'm most excited about are the things that have some multiplayer aspect to it.
Is Lone Echo on the launch list?
No, dude.
Lone
Lone
Echo
Echo doesn't even have a release date.
No. So Dead and Buried, I'm really excited to try that out in the new the robbery mode. Medium, definitely that's not a social one. Or in Quill.
Medium is the thing I'm most excited about.
And then some of the games we played, like Robo Recall, doesn't come out until next year. I guess.
What?
Yeah, it'll be free next year. The ones they're packing in are VR Sports Challenge and The Unspoken.
The VR, I'm glad.
And Dead and Buried.
And Dead and Buried, right. Which is their
And
first
Medium
party.
also.
Yeah, so
And
it's a
Medium.
lot. It's a lot of
like
content.
you get that when you buy the Touch.
And I think people should
yeah.
also recognize that, because people with touch can use touch in Steam VR, you can use Oculus headset in Steam VR. There are a lot of Steam VR games that may work that they should download and then they're free.
Yeah, and it's relatively easy for developers to bring the Oculus controllers into their Steam, like update their apps so that the instead of showing the Vive wands and then you have to do that mental translation in your hand, you see the Oculus controllers. I really like the touch controllers. I know. I think they're from what I've used at trade shows and things like that.
You like the
are-
ergonomics of
The
it.
ergonomics of them are fabulous.
What about the asymmetry aspect?
I think that having a definitive, canonical, correct way to hold those controllers versus the wands, where there's ambiguity in how you actually hold them, whether you hold them like this, with your palm up, with your palm sideways.
It's good for developers.
It's good for developers. It's good for things like inverse kinematics and stuff like that. I think it makes things a lot.
There's a
easier.
trade-off though, because there's versatility. You're talking about ambiguity versus versatility, because the Vive wands you can hold
like a
either
sword.
way. You can hold like a sword,
Yeah.
or you can hold like a pistol grip.
Yeah.
And you can aim it up or down. with the Oculus Touch, as far as we know, there's only it's conformed.
There's only
to
one way you can hold them.
One form factor.
I really think that resting neutral position that they chose is really smart. I think it's really. I'm sure you guys talked about the prototypes that Valve showed at Steam Dev Days of their Palm, like their hand controllers, and I think that the less abstraction and more direct measurement of your hands is going to be the way that we're going to go for the future.
And those the ones that they showed, which we haven't used yet, the ones that Valve showed, the prototype ones, do have direct hand abstraction. The big difference is you just don't have to hold.
It's just a thing that straps onto your hand, and then there's a touchpad in your palm. Is the pictures that I saw.
Clamps onto your hand, so you can actually let go of it completely.
More like a glove.
May be a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
There'd be a lot more to talk about next week.
Yep, definitely. But other VR news that might be happening.
Well, VLC, this isn't necessarily VR news yet, but VLC, the popular open source video player, just added 360-degree video support. So that's cool, but the major improvement will come with VR support, which they're hoping will come next year. So that's great. I mean, VLC is the go-to video player for everything in 2D. It might as well be in 3D as well.
All right. Of course, Will, FooVR, your Kickstarter is nearing completion.
We are 14 days in, and we have $1,500 of $50,000 to go. So we are, according to the dashboard that I'm looking at now, 97% funded. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. If you don't know what the Kickstarter is, we are basically doing we're using it as a pre-sale for the first season of the Foo Show, which is the thing that I built. Where we go into video games with the developers, talk about the games. We also have some non-video game episodes in the pipeline. We have a scientist who's going to come on and talk about some really, really cool, very, very, very small science stuff. And then some other things that we may announce in the next, maybe by the time this podcast is up, as stretch goals.
Ooh.
Because apparently stretch goals are a thing that you're supposed to do once you fund. So yeah, we also have updates. So the two things that you should know, there is a way, if you don't have a VR headset yet, which probably if you're listening to this podcast and you care about VR stuff, you do. But if you just have if you just have a normal computer that you play games on, we have a client that's experimental and will be exclusive for the Kickstarter backers to basically watch the show without a headset.
Oh, cool.
So you'll be able to navigate around using a mouse and keyboard or gamepad.
Pick up objects,
rotate them with your hand, kind of like you would in a game like Firewatch, and then put them back down and watch the show from whatever perspective you want. It's not anywhere near as immersive, but people wanted it, and it wasn't. It's surprisingly easy to do, it turns out. So we added that in, and eventually it'll be available for everybody on Steam. But for right now, it's exclusive to Kickstarter backers. And
you guys had some surprises at Thanksgiving? Did you guys have things to announce, things to show, things to update?
So we on the Sunday before Thanksgiving, my programmer said, "Hey, we should do a Thanksgiving update." I said, "That's actually a good idea." So we recorded something real quick, and we cranked out the new UI and UX that we had built. So we got Andre Lee, who is the developer of the Steam VR app Hover, HVR, which is the kind of Iron Man flight simulator tech demo, really, of like another way to do movement without making people feel motion sick that's not teleportation. And I talked to him about his approach to designing UI and UX, because that's his day job in VR, and he came in and built a what I would describe as a very kind of VR-ish UI UX for navigating between episodes, and then also controlling time playback within the episode and things like that. So if you want to get a sneak peek at what that looks like, you can go to the beta branch on Steam if you have a Vive or Oculus Touch and check it out. And actually, I think we're going to update that either later today or tomorrow with some fixes. So people have been sending us feedback on what they think about the UI, and that has been incredibly helpful. So please keep sending that. Post in the comment thread on the Kickstarter page or on the Steam forums, and that is basically a sneak preview at the UI that'll come out when the first episode of the show ships in December.
Nice.
And so then the Kickstarter is basically 5 episodes of the show. The first one launches in December. We'll do 2 in January and February, and we're probably going to do more episodes as stretch goals. So there's the opportunity to have more foo for your $20 than you will get otherwise. And on Steam and Oculus, we'll charge about $4 or $5 an episode, depending on how many episodes.
What's this little bump on your funding graph? Did you get some press or something?
The little bump on the funding graph
What is that?
is
A couple days ago.
Black Friday.
Oh.
Or no, Cyber Monday, I guess.
Oh, right on.
We
Just a little promotion, huh?
a little. I did a little press,
Good for
couple interviews, stuff like that. You know,
Very cool.
just getting it out there.
You guys have both launched Kickstarters. How robust are the tools for Kickstarters?
Oh, you know, I keep meaning to mention this. They added a new tool, so they have their own video chat now, right? Which is like a Hangouts.
It's like video streaming. It's like Twitch, basically.
Right, where you
Kickstarter
have a
Live.
chat room with all of your backers, and you can do a live stream. And isn't there some overlay features to it too?
I haven't looked at the overlay stuff. I think we're gonna do, assuming it doesn't happen at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna try to do a live countdown.
Please
to
use
the
that because I want to see it.
final.
That would be
So,
really fun.
Yeah, we'll. I have the papercraft more or less ready to go. I just need to get some time on a laser cutter to cut out the model and do some folding.
Cool.
I might have to borrow a boner.
Don't say that.
What? That's what you use to do the folding. It's a boner. It's a simple.
I know.
It's just,
I know.
It's just science, Jeremy. I can't control the English language, but yeah, it's maybe we'll do that for the.
That'd be fun
for the threat when we cross the threshold.
I don't know if the tools have changed much since I was on Kickstarter in the dark ages, 2013, but or 14.
It's really robust. Like they give you tools. It's like simplified versions of tools that are typically much more complex. For example, like they give you a tool that lets you generate a URL that you can use to track whether your marketing campaigns and ad campaigns, which ones are most effective, what kind of Twitter, like so like we did tags for different Twitter messages and stuff like that, and can see exactly how many people convert off of those links. They do the backer reports, lets you see who backed and at what level, and then you kind of have a series of graphs. The other one that I found that was really useful was I want to say Backer Kit.
Yeah, they're local.
Yeah, they are. They have analytics that
They're kind of like a post Kickstarter process service that allows you to add add-ons and take charges
and charge international shipping after the fact rather
Right.
than before, which is
and allow your backers to pay for that shipping.
yeah. So we're gonna flip on. I think later, probably tomorrow, maybe or today for you guys, maybe Friday. We're gonna flip on another tier for T-shirts and pins with international shipping because we didn't do that at first. I was afraid that we were gonna get boned by tariffs, but they'll also handle all the international shipping for you, which is good. So yeah, so that's if you want to see how a Kickstarter is doing, you can go to BackerKit. Just replace Kickstarter in the URL with BackerKit, and they do a better projection of like the curve that Kickstarters typically follow.
Oh, it's different than KickTrack's
Kicktrack.
curve?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jeremy, for pinball fans and VR fans, you got some news for them?
God, let me play the theme music, dude, because we don't get pinball news.
You have
that
pinball
often.
music?
Oh, yeah.
Man, you guys are going mad.
I'm a pinball nerd. Pin. Just the right point. Finally, pinball. That makes me very happy.
Okay. Pinball FX2 VR was released on Oculus at launch of the Rift, if I'm not mistaken. And it inspired me to build the Pin Sim, which is that stand-up first 8 inches of a real pinball table so that you can stand at it and feel like you're playing pinball.
Yeah. That thing's awesome.
Well, finally, Pinball FX2 VR is coming out on all other platforms, on VR platforms. So it's coming out. It's on Steam,
Oh, nice.
I believe. So it's ready for Vive owners, and it's on PlayStation VR. So you can play it anywhere you want to now. And along to go with that, they have released a new DLC, brand new table. I think it's $5. The Walking Dead.
So are these licensed tables?
That one is. So that's
Okay.
that's their first VR licensed table. All the others that they've released so far, and I believe that there's maybe 8 of the ones that were in the first DLC pack and the stock pack. Those were all original IPs that they had developed
Custom
at Zen
designs.
Pinball.
Okay.
Yeah, and The Walking Dead is not based on the real Walking Dead pinball machine by Stern. It's their own design.
Got it.
And but that's great. You know, more VR pinball, the better. I'm glad that they finally got this out on other platforms so more people can enjoy it.
Have you looked at adding hardware tracking to the Pin Sim?
So that so that the table can line up perfectly.
Yeah, so Valve has the little markers now.
right. I mean, that's a lot of work to line up your pinball game.
Come on, Jeremy.
The thing is, it lines up. I mean, all you got to do is just like stand at the table, and then you hit the recenter button, and you're good.
Yeah, your head position too.
Yeah,
As long as your height.
But what if I want automatic tilt tracking without the accelerometer? I want to actually measure the table movement.
No, dude.
Come on, man.
No, more trouble than it's worth is what that's filed under.
Okay, I suppose.
The accelerometer tracking works great.
You and I have very different ideas about more trouble than it's like. Look, I wanted to make a VR talk show, so what have I done?
We'll have a lot more VR talk next week, we promise, because Oculus Touch, as we said, is coming out, and maybe we'll talk about the year in review for VR. But we do have a lot of stuff that we've been testing, so let's roll on to that segment.
What we have been
Testing this week. Hey, what have you guys been testing? Jeremy, wow, that's a big trackpad you have there on your laptop.
Thanks. Is it glass?
It's glass.
It's this is the new MacBook Pro, the dongle book.
Is it the 13-inch with the touchpad?
Yes, and the touch screen.
Hey, look at that.
I gotta say the computer, the core computer is great. I don't mind the keyboard at all. It has less throw for the keys. The trackpad
Can I
is
press?
nice and
Can I
big.
press your shift key?
Go ahead, press the shift key. Press what you want.
No, it does feel better than the MacBook 12-inch keyboard.
People say that. And you know, my old MacBook was maybe 3 years old, so it had more throw to it. I probably would prefer that given the two of them, but this does not bother me at all. Not bothered by it.
This is my all-time favorite trackpad on keyboard on a laptop. On
You
this
like your
one right
triple
here.
keys.
Thank
Yeah, I
God
like
they
my
left
triplet
the
keys.
headphone jack on it, because that, you know, as we know, they're endangered.
No headphone jack on my iPhone 7 Plus has been a constant pain in my ass for the last 6
I believe it.
hour long.
And then having Lightning jack headphones and not being able to plug into 3.5 millimeter jacks, also
Yeah, that sucks too.
that sucks too. As
Like
well.
my Bluetooth drops all the time. It's a constant. It's just a shit show.
That was a bad move, and they got to get back on that ball.
They never look back.
So I got to tell you, my gripes with this machine are that the sound is good, by the way. And when we had reported that iFixit said these little grills, don't do anything, they do. There's some reverberation happening there. If you cover them up, you lose the high end.
Okay.
So the speakers are good. They're better than any MacBook. But my main gripe is the ports. Like USB-C only makes no sense.
What's
at
your
all.
dongle strategy? How many dongles do you have with you
It's
right now?
just pain. I got a whole bag of dongles. I've got enough so that I can convert every one to USB.
Can you get them out? I want to see. Can you grab your dongles?
No, don't grab your dongles.
I just want to hold your dongles.
Oh my goodness. Have you seen the Kickstarters and the other projects where you can adapt two USB-C ports, have this clamp on that turns it into multiple USB type A, and then also
Holy
Wow,
hell.
video,
That is a
wow.
lot of dongles.
I got more.
Can you plug both of these in at the same time? They look like they're going to overlap too much.
No, they actually don't. They overlap just fine. But the
Okay.
problem is that it adds extra weight. So like if I plug in this dongle and then a USB, which is big and heavy,
Yeah.
it starts to bend it down.
Your dongle
And
dangles?
Yeah, and if it's on my lap, it's like bending down, right? And
Yeah.
so I just did this is like a year away from breaking the port.
Your daughter's going to run up and say, and it'll be like, Daddy, 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 and then snap.
That's it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hopefully it'll rip out. rather
Oh
than
my
snap.
god, I hate this about this machine. And plus, like, I mean, I have like a thermal printer that's from like UPS. So like, they're not gonna make a USB-C version of that.
no.
So that's like I'm stuck with this. I have to use this, and it's just
And no
constantly
SD
weighing
card.
down. And right, so I have another thing for SD card, and I hate it every time I use it.
Oh, I'm so
I
sorry.
hate it. Plus the power cable.
Yeah.
It used like the old one that used to have a little light on it, tells you when
course.
it's charged.
Yes.
Like
it's great.
amber means it's charging, green means it's done.
Yes.
You get no indication. You have no
And
idea.
no MagSafe. Yeah.
No idea how.
This is the
charged
problem with
laptop
the
is.
with the 12-inch MacBook too.
Hate it. Hate
MagSafe's
it.
pretty good.
This is the dumbest thing Apple's ever done is removing USB ports from a laptop machine. Not to mention the SD card. It's a pro laptop.
That's right.
So congratulations on your purchase.
Thanks. Also, so the touchscreen, that's fine. I don't use it that much. But the problem is, like, when I do use it, like I was experimenting with it in photos, right?
Yeah.
I cropped a photo.
Using just the thing?
Yeah, and well, no, I like selected the crop tool, and it can be cool, like if you're in photos and
Can
you're
be
browsing your
cool.
photos.
Can be cool.
Let's see.
Oh,
here,
you
if
are
I-
a
if I-
heavy-duty iPhotos user.
So if I go into photos and then like I select a photo, Yeah, I'm surprised it's not working. That's weird.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, you need to
There
exit
There it
out.
is. There it is.
you
So
go.
you get
Okay.
all the photos down here, and I can scrub through them,
That's,
right?
that's smooth. That's
That's
smooth.
And
nice.
that's
fast.
cool. So you get into using the touchscreen, right? And it's clearly a touchscreen because it's
And then you want to touch the
dynamic.
screen.
So then, like, I go in here, and then I'll go to edit, and then I'll click on crop. I'm using this touchscreen. My instinct is
it's
to
touch
go up
the
here.
screen.
Oh, that I must be able to grab the crop tool.
Yes.
And it's because of this.
Once you touch, you can't stop.
That's the thing.
You got the touch.
Yeah. This
You
is-
got the power.
There's cognitive dissonance because I'm using a touchscreen
You're touched by an angel.
right next to this other screen. And so I go up there to touch it, and of course I can't do it.
That's the next step.
Where did the
Maybe
MacBook
next
touch
year.
you, Jeremy?
What?
Nothing.
Geez, don't touch it back. Can't touch it back.
This seems like this seems like a tweener product, right? It seems like something that like they felt like they had to push out to push USB-C forward, but the world is not ready for an all USB-C, no touch
my
screen,
God.
touch
Maybe
bar.
It's a
Who thought it
next year
was?
product.
And a lot of times Apple has been prescient about this, and they have done the right thing where they get rid of the floppy drive. But this is not one of those moves. This is a bad decision.
How far away are they from saying, you know what, you don't need physical keys on your keyboard? The whole thing's just going to be a giant OLED
Yeah.
with some haptic feedback on it. You know,
Norm's right. This could use haptic feedback. That should.
does
be
it not
covered.
have haptic feedback?
No haptic feedback. Yeah, you want the dial to feel like a dial.
Yeah,
You're
it
used
should.
to it.
It
You're
should
used to
bump
it on
when you
the
scroll.
iPhone.
It should bump, 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 bump,
And
bump.
you're totally used to it
that's
on
so
the
cool.
iPhone.
Good photos,
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Yeah. I gotta publish some of these. We're looking at my Denver photos from the Star Wars exhibit.
Yeah.
Too bad about Darth Maul. Yeah, the vibrant. Can you adjust the vibrancy on that OLED on the touch bar?
No, I don't think there's any brightness.
Because it seems dim from where I'm sitting. It may just be the angle, though.
It seems low contrast. Like
Yeah.
it seems like a matte screen. It's not as vibrant as I imagine it would be.
Right.
And it's low resolution. It's not, it's not Retina.
When you want to hit like I hit the brightness adjustment on my laptop all the time. I don't have to look at the screen to do that. I can just reach. I know where it is. Is that something that you can do with that, or do you always have to look at it?
The brightness, actually, that's one of the good things about it. So, like with brightness, if I tap it, I can then do it analog.
But you still have to look to find where the button is, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, you can't feel it.
Yeah.
No.
And it moves, so it's not always in the same place.
You mean it doesn't like chink into like a position?
Like it's not like the physical button is always in the same place.
yeah,
'cause
it's always
a physical
in the same
button.
place. It's always in- And then I think like that's one cool thing. It's like that's one of the hacks. Like you don't have to tap it and then go over there. You can just
Same with volume.
drag the volume.
Yeah. How about Touch ID?
Touch ID is the best thing about it. But that comes on the low end one, right? The one without the
Without
No,
the
I
touch
don't
bar?
think so.
Is that not on there?
I don't believe
I'm
it
gonna
is.
look right now.
See, that would be good if it was on there because that's actually the best thing. I can log in quickly.
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think that's supported for purchases yet. But at least
Just log in.
At least on Safari. But yeah, it's coming. It's got to be coming.
I've started using Windows Hello, and as a matter of convenience,
Wait, what's that?
it's the face recognition thing
Oh,
for
right,
Windows
yeah, that's
on,
right.
on the Surface.
But
Oh,
it,
really?
it didn't recognize you without
It
your
didn't
glasses
recognize
on.
me without my glasses.
That's funny.
But its accuracy percentage is, it's 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I just use the
The pin code.
yeah.
I used to use the pin code, but it really is so much more convenient. I don't. It doesn't even feel like my computer has security on it, because I just open up the screen.
Do you have to have a special webcam to do that?
Yeah,
It has to be a specific one, right?
Yeah.
The thing about the pin code is that on my keyboard, for whatever reason, numlock always defaults to off. So I always bang it out on the numpad, and then I'm like, shit.
It's 5 presses.
Yeah.
Or it's 9 presses if you have a 4-number pin code. You hit it 4 times, and you realize numlock is off.
Right.
Hit numlock,
And then you do
hit
it
it 4
again.
times again.
There's
Every time you boot your computer
like
up.
when you search for how to force numlock on by default, there are thousands of pages about it, all with solutions that never ever work.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before, where there's a fundamental difference between security and it's like the front door, right? Your bolt on your front door, your lock on your front door isn't going to really stop a burglar. It's not real security. So biometric isn't real security. It's the front door lock that gives you a little bit of peace of mind plus convenience.
You can be compelled in a court to use your thumbprint too, because they kind of own that. They can force you to put your thumb on a device, whereas they can't force you to type your password in.
Oh.
Worth knowing.
Yeah.
Like legally speaking. you're
Right,
saying.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's the trade-off between how fast and how convenient it is to get something to unlock or get you past that front door. And I think Touch ID works great on the phones as a way to not have to type in a 4-digit or a 6-digit code.
Right.
And then Windows Hello is great for me to get into my laptop without having to type in a password.
No Touch ID on the non-touch bar
Oh.
iPad,
Ah.
MacBooks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jeremy, I imagine you'll be doing more testing on this, and maybe we should shoot a review and get all of your frustrations
Your
out
hottest takes.
on video.
That'll get us invited to those Apple events.
Hey, you bought this one yourself.
How much did all this frustration and dongle cost you?
2K. Wow. Plus dongles.
Holy shit! I've never bought a $2,000 computer.
2K plus dongles.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, hence the frustration.
I mean, it'll last a while, right?
It
I mean,
works.
they'll release a much nicer one next year, I'm sure.
They need an upgrade program for this.
How's the palm recognition on the trackpad? I'd heard
Great.
complaints about that.
Trackpad's
no
great.
problems? Okay.
Yeah, trackpad's great.
Yeah, they still make best-in-class trackpad.
Yeah, it's really
So you could spend up to $2,000 last year, and then maybe get a Glowforge this year. And we do have one. So later today, Thursday morning, we'll have our video about testing the Glowforge, a first hands-on test in-house. Now, we don't have a production unit. What we have is what Glowforge is calling a pre-release unit, which is basically like their near production, final beta, and it's both in the hardware and also the software, which they're continually improving. But it is amazing that I had, over last weekend, a laser cutter in my home office. I was laser cutting as I was playing video games.
Did they give you the filter and stuff, or did you have to pipe it out the window?
Filter is not ready yet, so I piped it out the window.
What's the noise like?
It sounds like a vacuum cleaner.
It's pretty loud.
It basically sounds exactly like a vacuum cleaner, but except you're running it for like 50 minutes at a time.
What was the first thing you cut?
They give you for the pre-release units, and I think for production units they'll have, if you have their materials, they'll run you through like 3 things that you should do first test kit.
Like learning and calibrating and stuff?
Yeah, there's no calibration required, but it's like a ruler and then like a pendant that you can throw a raster image on, and then like a 3D engrave thing.
One of the cool things is it can scan a QR code on the material that you buy from them, or that you're given by them.
So they're selling proof grade materials.
So it knows by scanning that how to cut that material,
how to cut it, how to engrave it, what settings to use, and it's all visual based. So when you want to engrave something, as opposed to saying, normally I would engrave by setting power and speed to a certain level to get a certain color or depth of engraving or scoring, it'll know for this thick of plywood, if you want to get this color, it'll be this setting. If it's a darker color, this setting, a darker color, that setting, and you just click the color you want for that engrave, and then that's what it'll do.
Like getting those settings right is one of several dark arts of using a traditional laser cutter. So it's good. I went and worked with them a little bit at Maker Faire a few months ago in New York, and got to watch people come up and do the demos that they do at trade shows, where they give you a piece of paper that you can draw whatever you want on with a Sharpie, and then they put that on, scale it up or down, and do a cut with the people's designs. And like watching what people can do with just a Sharpie and 10 minutes while they're waiting in line to cut on the laser was fascinating.
It's gimmicky though, right? It's not practical.
The what? Drawing it with the Sharpie?
Yeah. Isn't that cool for kids? And it would it's a great way to get them using a laser cutter, but it's not something you would use for practical purposes.
I think that there are definitely times when I've needed to cut something, when I wanted to trace something, or when it would have been much faster for me to just draw it with a piece of paper and a pen than it would be for me to figure out how to draw it in
Do you ever
Photoshop
need
or
to-
whatever.
And all you're really cutting out, though, Will, is that step of taking that drawing and putting it into a flatbed scanner.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
exactly
importing
it.
out. So
but
it's
is
cutting
there,
out that.
when do you want to laser cut something without accuracy?
I mean, if I'm making Christmas ornaments, if I'm making
okay.
coasters, if I'm making anything that's kind of organic and doesn't need to go together, I mean, why not?
I think the
All right, fair
drawing
enough.
part, I agree with Jeremy that it falls more on the gimmicky side, but the camera in the bed, what the advantage is placement.
Oh, alignment too.
Alignment
Yeah.
and placement, and knowing if you already have a material that may be a regular size, and as opposed to doing measurements saying, okay, do the cut 4 inches from the left and 3 inches down,
yeah.
you can drag a raster or drag an outline on top of your material directly and have it cut there. That's the advantage of having the computer vision.
And also, I think if you're building this to do craft stuff, then being able to do a drawing, being able to write something and have it look like something was written or drawn, if you're good at drawing especially, which I'm not, then that opens up a whole lot of opportunity to do some really neat mass producible or semi-mass producible hand art, basically.
I can't wait to start etching aluminum. I'm gonna
That's
get
your
etches
first one.
on
You're gonna
on
get your
back.
Surface Book.
Yeah.
You're gonna make that Windows logo into a.
I might
don't know.
commission some art and
There you go.
and have it etched on top of that.
It's gonna, you know, it's gonna be your dog.
I have, you know what? I did etch a photo of Ripley onto and turned her into a puzzle, a
Okay.
12-piece puzzle. That was one of the things
Holy-
I first did.
Did you guys see the Klein bottle puzzle?
The
Hold on, let me see what it's
Klein
called.
bottle puzzle.
Do you know what a Klein bottle is?
No.
It's a mathematical construct where the inside and the outside are mathematically identical.
Inside and the outside.
Yeah, so it's a topological problem basically. And this one is called the Infinity Puzzle. It's you can get it on any N-E-R-V nervous.com, put hyphens between all the letters. And the way it works is when you've assembled it, you take a piece off of one side, flip it over, and it assembles onto the other side. I don't know what's I'm on bad
Okay.
internet here, but
Sounds interesting.
it's if you like building puzzles, it would be maddening.
Oh.
It's all carved out of wood, and the pieces. So basically, the puzzle. It's two puzzles.
Okay.
They both have pictures of outer space on either side.
These are big, thick pieces.
big, thick pieces. And when you take the piece out of one, out of one side, you flip it over, and it slots into the other opposite side of the puzzle. The video's stalled, so you can't see what I'm talking about. But anyway, it's just search for Infinity Puzzle, a new kind of jigsaw puzzle, and you'll find it. Okay. They're doing a campaign right now. They're doing a limited number of them, and if you're into puzzles, then it is, I think, super cool.
So you have to assemble it first before you can experience the second half of the fun?
Yeah, but it's basically it's a flattened torus. Is the way to describe it.
And can you
so
actually
a
make it a
torus
torus?
is a donut.
Yeah.
No. But
Okay.
a torus is a topological construct that you can. It's the most complex thing you can flat. I don't know. This is math that I don't understand.
Interesting.
Anyway,
All right.
sorry.
No boundaries.
Complete bad segue there, but
Don't know how we got there.
All right. So yeah, check
Well,
out
you
our
could
video
laser
for the
cut
Glowforge.
that was the point.
We could laser cut it.
Yeah.
And we'll have our impressions, and we had Adam do a sketch, and we laser cut that. So that
'Cause
was fun.
Drawing and then lasering it is for children, apparently. Jeremy.
It gets people excited. I mean, it's something that I would never imagine growing up having access to.
No,
A laser cutter working out of my office.
it's magic.
Other thing I had in my office this weekend in the house was the Phantom 4 Pro. So
You
we've
flew it in the
begun
house?
testing. Yes, I need to get it set up.
Noisier than a laser cutter.
Yeah, it's a swarm of bees versus a vacuum cleaner, and still haven't done full flights with it yet. In terms of I want to get some sunrises. The camera system is supposed to be much more powerful. It's a 1-inch camera sensor, 100 megabits recording, does D-Log. So I'm gonna get some footage.
What's
over
D-Log?
Raw video, basically flat video that you can color grade afterwards. So I'm gonna send that over to Joey and have him work on some of that footage I shoot with the Phantom 4. But I did get the transmitter, the RC remote with the built-in screen, and it turns out that built-in screen is basically like an Android tablet. It's a 5-inch Android tablet. It's super bright. It looks really good outside.
Yeah, that seems like the big win on a custom tablet for the flight.
And so for the price difference between that and the one without, it's you're buying more than the screen. You're getting a little computer that runs their DJI Go software.
How much more is it?
I think it's a couple $100 more. But
That's kind of a lot.
yeah, I know. On first glance, I'm like, no, why can't I use my phone? And because my phone has cellular, I can download maps. So it's really a matter of testing and seeing, does the convenience of having a really nice screen and flying outdoors, is that worth that couple $100? Will, Plex Cloud.
So Plex Cloud, Amazon announced, it's not Amazon, Plex announced a few weeks ago that if you want to put all of your movies on a Amazon Drive account, which is $60 a month for infinite storage, basically, $60 a year rather for infinite storage, then you will be able to, at some point in the future, run a Plex server in the cloud. So instead of having to have a machine running in your garage, it'll just run on Amazon's compute cloud or whatever, and you'll be able to connect to it from anywhere in the world, just like your own personal Netflix.
And what's the bandwidth speed like on the Amazon server?
I mean, Amazon hosts like 30% of the web, so
So it's that fast. It's not like a backup service where it takes forever to get your files back.
No,
It's fast.
It's on demand.
That's
yeah.
great.
So the question is whether they're going to be transcoding like your 20 megabit Blu-ray rips down to something that's more compatible with most people's broadband.
Yeah.
How transcode will work on that? Will you have to transcode? Like if you want to put it on your iPad, will you have to transcode it on EC2, and will they charge for that? How does all that stuff work? They rolled out the beta to a very limited number of people a few weeks ago. The feedback was that it's definitely a beta. It's not like a mostly polished product ready to go. They're figuring out real nitty gritty about how that works in order for it to make a viable business for Plex, as well as something that people actually want to use. But I have 4 or 5 terabytes of ripped Blu-rays and DVDs, and I thought might as well start uploading those. So
For everyone listening, he actually does have these ripped. He's an anti-pirate. He's like serious. He does have them ripped. He didn't get these off BitTorrent.
No, I don't steal stuff. I don't steal
It's true.
content. As
It's
a person
actually
who
true.
makes content for a living, I don't believe in stealing content. The uploading process, I started using Amazon's default graphical client for Windows. It turns out there's a much better option, especially if you have access to an always-on machine, called rClone. That is basically rsync, a Linux tool for cloud storage. So you can connect to Amazon, Box, Dropbox, a bunch of different places. And it lets you use a command line tool to basically sync the contents of one folder on your local machine with the cloud service, which is faster and both faster and more reliable than the Amazon client, especially when you're talking about, in some cases, like 10 gig files, 10, 12 gig files. So that's been running for now 6 weeks. My upstream has been a disaster for a month and a half.
Does that affect your downstream?
It turns out you have to tweak the amount of upstream you use, or else your downstream really suffers, just because you can't get requests out.
Yeah.
But once I got that kind of worked out, then everything's been fine. And I have like a half a terabyte to go, and then TV shows. So it's an exciting moment in the Smith household. The other thing that I got recently, speaking of things that sound like a vacuum cleaner, Amazon ran sales on fancy vacuum cleaners on Friday, and we invested in a completely cordless house-size vacuum cleaner, which is a thing I didn't realize existed.
What does that mean?
It is basically a full-size dustbuster. So it's we got the Dyson Animal V6, which I think you have, like the little brother version of that, Norm.
I do. I have we call it the suck, the handheld one.
Yeah, so this is the handheld one, but they put a bigger battery and bigger motor in it, and you have a whole like a beater head.
Wow.
So I mean, we have a relatively small house.
Expensive.
It did not cost that much money when we bought it. It
Retail's
was half price.
$500.
Yeah, I think we got it for $250 or $260. And it vacuums our entire 1,000 square foot house on one charge in like 15 minutes, which is great.
That's great.
No cords.
Is it wet?
What do you mean?
Some of these vacuums, they squirt out water or stuff like that.
No, we have a steamer to do the hardwood to get in between the cracks of the hardwood, but this is just a dry vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
Cool. And it has a little mount that goes on the wall that charges it. It's fancy, and it gets really loud.
You know, one thing I was really tempted to buy on Black Friday, appliance-wise, was a new television.
I was going to ask you about
Really?
that.
Why?
And-
How old is your television?
Well, Will and I bought our televisions during the same holiday.
2011? 2010?
2010.
oh, yeah.
2010 for TV Quest. So it's 6 years ago now. And we both got plasmas. Will, I believe, got 63
Did you get the
inch.
Samsung, or you got the Samsung?
I got the
we
Samsung.
Gary and I got the Panasonic.
You guys both got the Panasonics. You have
Yeah.
63?
I bought a 58, I think.
Okay.
Maybe I got it's right around 60 inches.
You still
Yeah.
have it too?
Yeah.
All right.
I have
It's
the
a little loud.
65, and Gary got the 68 or 70, or
Yeah.
something like that, right? Well, there was Vizio, which has the best rated 4K HDR TV currently by many for best image quality for your buck, had their 65-inch for $1,500
Wow.
on Black Friday, which was very, very tempting since my plasma is slowly dying. I have had to replace the board once, but it's not dead yet. And the thing that's stopping me from buying it was the 75-inch version, 10 more inches, was $3,000. And I'm like, I can't spend that much money on TV right now.
Well, and then there's also like the OLEDs are coming down in price finally, and like you can get a really nice OLED that's 55 or
big.
60 inches for like $1,500 to $2,500 somewhere in
not
there.
4K though. Those are usually 1080.
Are they only 1080p?
think so.
I thought they were 4K OLEDs that came out this holiday.
Maybe this holiday. I'm like 6 months behind.
I mean, the fact that you can get a 65-inch, which is massive, 4K HDR, well-reviewed TV for $1,500. When I think I bought that 65-inch plasma for like $4,000, 6 years ago. That's it. I think it's not unreasonable to say if you're going to buy a TV, buy a 4K TV.
Well, so I was looking, like, I'm not in the market for a TV right now, but I was watching people's reactions, and the people who either have the Xbox One S or the PlayStation 4 Pro, I guess.
Yep.
Were kind of raving about the HDR stuff. It seems like the big jump isn't necessarily the resolution for games, at least, but the jump from not HDR to HDR.
I think that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, HD to 4K only makes a difference at either a large scale or at a close range.
Yep.
And most people are sitting reasonably far away from their TVs.
Yeah, but the HDR makes a huge
that makes a difference at any res. Yeah.
So the thing that I saw is that a lot of people are having trouble with like the setup for the HDR. Seems like there's still some work to do. Like either it doesn't support HDR, or when you turn HDR on, then stuff that's not HDR looks terrible, or like there's all sorts of. It seems like there's some fiddling that has to happen on the TV side, which maybe you may or may not want to have to do. But I mean, overall, it seems like now is finally the time to start thinking about that 4K upgrade on the set side. And there's actually discs coming out if you want to watch that. Netflix has 4K. You'll destroy your bandwidth cap if you start watching a bunch of 4K.
I just signed up for Sonic.
Good job. Just right now?
During this
Wow.
podcast.
Wow.
It's going to take up to 4 weeks to install, but I can't wait.
Yeah, can I come over to your house and upload some movies?
Yeah, right.
Comcast is going to turn me off next week. I don't know. I'm interested to hear what people think about 4K and whether if you bought a 4K set on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, whatever, I'd be interested to hear what you think about it.
Awesome. And I think that does it for us this week. It's a good podcast, long podcast. I believe Kishore will most likely be back next week. But thank you, Will, for coming in.
Of course.
And of course, you can find his Kickstarter at foovr.com.
foovr.com/Kickstarter.
I imagine you can.
I was going to make a short URL right on the spot, but I Turkey/TurkeyWorks/Kickstarter works.
There you go.
Either one would pick your poison.
Of course, Jeremy, thank you as always for being here, and thank you guys out there for listening. And thank you for making some outro music. I think we have one queued up this week. So for everyone here, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Hi there, didn't see you there.
Test it. I'm not getting anything. I don't know what's wrong with the audio. Well, maybe I'm muted. Okay. Test it.
What was wrong was that it was too loud.
That was a great one.